You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Trevor Lawrence, a lot of news on Trevor, of course, since we left you yesterday and since we left the building yesterday. I'm not sure why when they decide this stuff, but I figured this is something Doug could have announced yesterday morning. Out for, the season. He's on IR. Could come back with the final game. That's not happening because, according to reports in Ian Rappaport, that he'll now have the surgery before the end of the year and get started for a clean bill of health in 2025. And listen, I've heard people say it like this. We've said it a little bit. I try not to say it like a lost year. Is it ever a lost year for a player? Some of the things that you go through, you battle through, you build toward, some of the things that you worked on that you were able to do. There were some decent moments for Trevor. But I would say it does feel like a lost season for number 16 in a year where he gets the big contract. And I'm sure Tyson Campbell right now is feeling the same way in the year that he got the big contract. At least it hasn't been a lost season for a guy like Josh Hines-Allen, who is now a few sacks away from breaking the franchise record for sacks. It hasn't been as productive as last year, and we talked to Josh a little bit about that yesterday. But, man, I mean, you just couldn't line it up any worse for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024. So unexpected. We talked to the guys about that a lot yesterday in the building. Yesterday in the building felt like, and you've been through these, like clean out the locker day. That's really what it felt like. It felt like the season was over because they were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs this week with Denver winning and obviously with Houston. And so from the questioning, it was more, a little broader perspective of the season, and man, this hasn't gone the way. And then there was a flip side of it was, okay, what do you play for in the last 5 weeks? And there's plenty. There's always the cliches, and I believe there is. I believe there's plenty to play for. I think these guys are trying their damnedest, and it's not working. I think you got guys that really have a lot on the line, like Josh and Trayvon, who could, get into that double-digit sack category and maybe think about paying them this offseason. I think you have Brian Thomas Jr., who really has a chance to have a great rookie year. I think you have a guy like Travis Etienne who's going to have another year in Jacksonville but needs to build some momentum, So there's a lot to play for these guys, but obviously for the fan base, it's just a couple of empty wins if you were able to do that going over the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything to play for, right? Because regardless if you win a Super Bowl or if you win 2 games in a season, the roster is going to look different the next season. So a lot of these guys right now are auditioning possibly for new jobs on different teams or depth purposes and everything, but there's still plenty to play for. And most importantly, like you're kind of playing for pride at this point. Nobody likes to lose. Nobody enjoys getting their butt kicked. So I think it comes down to that. And honestly, I get it. We like players like that dangling carrot, that playoff berth, that possibility to go to a Super Bowl, and obviously that's gone now. But there's still plenty to play for in terms of yourself, in terms of your future, and in terms of obviously having that pride.
Yeah, and these guys do a good job of that. I respect that. I respect the process of those guys and everything else, and the belief and the blocking out the noise. And I mean, for the fans, I don't blame them either. I mean, this has obviously been miserable in so many ways and just a strange season. But I do think they're going to go. They've really turned. It's funny how many times I've heard this year, and you can tell that it's a statement that is being said inside the building from either Doug or from the leadership. I think Trevor said it a bunch. I hear Evan Ingram say it a bunch. I see ETN say it. It's like, hey, man, we love playing the game. Play like a kid. What made you start playing the game? This is what this time is. Like, you're not playing for a check. You play because you love the game. And so they've really tried to do that. They've tried to wrap their arms around that. And what's really weird in the NFL to me, and what makes this season so strange, is that usually when you try these different messages and you have quality players, which they do, they have quality players. How good they are, obviously, we misstepped. But they're not a 2-win team, and I think we all would agree. When you have those kind of quality players and you try to fix stuff and you send messages and everybody's on the same page and you galvanize around something, you usually see results. Mm-hmm. And you just have not seen results. That's what's so bizarre about this season. That's what makes this even more strange amidst all the other stuff that makes it strange, including last night, including this morning, which you got to with the Eric Armstead stuff. But, I mean, just wild. But back to Trevor for a moment. Is it a lost season for him? Is that the way you look at it? I mean, is there very little to gain from what just transpired in the last few months?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look back on this season, you're going to talk about a lot of drop balls. You're going to talk about the play calling and all this stuff, but we're also going to talk about, going forward. I mean, how confident are we in him? Like, I mean, he's a franchise quarterback. Don't get it twisted. But has he had, like, that one game where it's like, all right, this dude's going to lead us to a Super Bowl? I'm not sure if he has yet.
No, I mean, the closest thing, and we know it, we don't have to relive his career. We know what it is. The second half of 22 was it. I mean, that was really it.
And right? I'm saying from this season.
Oh, yeah. The thing listen, I guess I come with a little bias here probably, so I'm still a big fan of Trevor. I think he's the guy. He's the right guy. I have no problem with him paying him. I really don't. All those things.
Yeah.
But I also will not sit here and I just don't have a lot of defense if you want to say, well, we don't know, or we don't, all those things, or where does he stack up with everybody else, or if he's getting paid like a top 5, top 8, top 10 guy, where is that? Like, there's not a lot of defense to that. Like, it's blind faith a little bit, or at least almost blind faith, because it's just not a long enough sample. It's not enough consistency. I think you can pick things apart. I mean, we have Mike Mularkey on from time to time, and he's worried about the consistency. He's worried about, hey, anytime you get the ball, do you feel like you're going to score? Like, I think he brings up a good point there. Now, how much of this is on Doug and Press and everybody else? How much of this is on everybody? We can continue to blame everybody else, and I think they have ownership in it.
Absolutely.
They absolutely do. They have not helped him out enough around him, players on the field, coaches. But I also, that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. We just still don't know enough after 4 years.
I get that, but how can you play 60 games and we don't know?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. I say we don't, he hasn't had help, but can't be the only answer, right? I mean, the answer is we don't know after 60 games. Like, we just don't know how good he is. We know he's the guy, and I think we're okay with him being the guy. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely okay with him being the guy, but I think all of Jacksonville's okay with him being the guy. But I still think we have no idea where he's going to hit in his career.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm definitely okay with him being the guy, and I'm okay with them paying him because, once again, it's your franchise quarterback. There's no other option. So I completely get it, and I'm completely on board with it. The only thing I'm saying is if we're still wondering how good this guy can be after 60 games, I think that says something about him. It says something about the team that set him up for failure. It says something about the wide receivers that have dropped balls. It says a lot about a lot of people around him. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about, the story of Trevor Lawrence, eventually we're going to have to stop saying, okay, well, the coach has set him up for, what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you run out of that. And again, I think it's a part of the story, but it can't be all the story, is what I'm saying. Again, as a big defender of Trevor, it can't be that's the only defense. It can't be it's not Trevor's fault. It's not Trevor's fault. It's not Trevor's fault. There's a lot that's out of his control. There's a lot that I think he could be set up better at. But at the same time, 4 years in, 60 games in, we should be able to have a little bit more of something to stand on. So it's been availability now is becoming a little bit of an issue. And again, not totally his fault. I don't blame players for availability, but it's just sometimes bad luck. Well, and now we're going to go into 2025, and we just don't know.
And I think the sad thing is if Trevor was on the Steelers, if he got drafted to the Steelers, if he got drafted to an organization that seems to be a little more competent, I think we'd be talking about making a Super Bowl run right now, Trevor Lawrence. It just so happens that he's found himself here in Jacksonville, and things have gone sideways a couple of times, and they haven't helped him. Like, I'm going to be honest, man. I don't think it could have been Trevor. It could have been Stroud. It could have been anybody that you drafted here. I don't think there would have been a lot of success regardless.
Yeah, I think, right. Well, yeah, I think you would have seen a similar arc, right?
Correct.
I mean, for Urban could have ruined a lot of people. I always give Trevor a lot of credit for bouncing back, and I give Doug credit, and Press credit, and Mike McCoy credit, and Jim Bob Cooter credit for kind of rescuing him in that year, like really showing him the way and then building towards something. But ever since last year, at last December, now a year, that it's been not great for a lot of different circumstances. Elijah comments on Facebook, Lawrence is not consistent, and then his next one, Lawrence is trash. Okay, well, those are two different stories, Elijah. I mean, I can go with Lawrence is not consistent, but I would say this is where you can't sit here and pound it like he's a top 5, top 8, top 10 guy, but I also think nobody around the league is saying he's trash. I don't think that it's not on either end of that spectrum. I think it's inconsistent for sure.
I mean, if we're talking about how Twitter or other fan bases feel about it, I think fan bases are fed up with because they think people are making an excuse of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Because they see the win and loss record, they see the touchdowns, interceptions, they don't watch the games, so they say, how many times you guys are going to blame the wide receivers? How many times you guys are going to blame the coach? How many times you guys are going to blame the offensive line before you admit that he's not a good quarterback? Now, this is the national fan base narrative, not the Jacksonville narrative.
Yeah, and I get that. And here's what happens, because I've been around here a long time, and the blame game goes from the top down. And right now, the blame game has been on owner Shad Khan for the overall record. The blame game is on Trent Baalke, really, multiple times in the last handful of years. The blame game is all on Doug Peterson right now. It was on Press Taylor last year. It's been on some of the players from the offensive line, but you get to the players eventually, is my point here. You get to the players, and right now we're seeing this. I think the angst of the fan base over the next 5 weeks, you're going to start to see more pointed stuff at players. And I think we're getting with Eric Armstead, which we'll get into in a bit. And I'm not saying nobody's taken a shot or everybody's been happy with every player, but I think we're so keyed in on everything else around the organization, and fans are too, and then they get to the point where it's on the players. Right now, Trevor Lawrence is that last line. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is not being blamed from the overall feel of the fan base. He is being defended more so. And by the way, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I also lived through David Garrard, where I thought he unfairly got blamed for too much. I think Blake Bortles got unfairly blamed for too much at times. It's an overwhelming type of narrative that exists, not even nationwide, but also here in Jacksonville. It is good right now that Trevor Lawrence is working in at least a little bit of a bubble that supports him still here in Jacksonville. Like, that's a good thing, because he's got enough stuff to overcome, and that thing can get loud in this vacuum that is Jacksonville, and the only thing that, like, is the loudest of all things is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Of course, but this is how football is going to always be. Whether you're Vince Young, whether you're Jamarcus Russell, no one's going to ever blame the situation that he was put into. No one's going to ever blame, maybe the coach staff didn't really look out for him. Maybe he didn't have the weapons. When it's all said and done, and if a quarterback fails, that quarterback will be listed as a bust, or he'll be listed as a guy who just couldn't play in the NFL. And it's as simple as that. No one's going to talk about how Blaine Gabbert was thrust into a role he was not ready for, and they did him zero favors by doing it unsuspectingly when you fire your starting quarterback in David Garrard the day of the luncheon that announced our starters. Nobody cares about that, because all they see is what they see on the field with Blaine Gabbert, and that's understandable, because that's how I think it should be. So once again, 60 games in, we really don't know yet. I'm still going to ride with him. We'll see for this year, but eventually it's going to have to start being like, can you elevate the guys around you? Can you elevate the team? And can you get us out of this hole that this franchise seems to be in?
Yeah, you're right. The beautiful thing about this for Trevor Lawrence now is, again, what I said, and I do think that's important. I think it's important to have a little bit of support still. And they've got support from the owner. They've got support. Again, I'll tell you that Doug Peterson thinks more of Trevor Lawrence than you think he does, okay? Mm-hmm. And the guys in that locker room really think highly of the skill set and the guy that he is. They believe he is the right guy to get through the mud of all of this. And I think that is true. I think that is proven to be true. I think he understands. I think one of the problems we have in Jacksonville, quite frankly, the last 4 years from Urban to now Doug, is he understands what Jacksonville's all about and his role in Jacksonville and this team's role in Jacksonville more than those guys do and did. And he wears a lot of that. And I think he wants to turn it around. Like, there will be people be like, oh, get traded. He wants to get out of here. I don't think he wants any bit of getting out of here. I think he wants to be the guy that turns this thing into a winner consistently. And I think he owns that. I think he loves that. I think that's cool about Trevor Lawrence. Like, he wears that. And I could make the case sometimes he wears it and wants it a little bit too much and probably puts a little too much on him. And maybe that contract didn't help in that regard. But he understands it. And the beautiful thing about Trevor is he's going to start next year in 2025, and he's not even going to be 25.
Sure.
And we know this guy's got good football in him. The question is, can somebody tap into that? Will it be Doug and Press? We don't think so. So who comes in next? If you bring a culture guy in, and this is where it gets this is where it's a good debate whenever things do get done here in the offseason if it trends this way, and we think it's going to happen. Do you bring in the culture guy, which, again, a couple of days ago, I'll sit here and say, yes, you do. It's time to bring in that culture guy. But you also got to bring in a guy for him. Who's going to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence? That has to be part of the equation, as much as who's going to get the most for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the franchise, and change the way things are in Jacksonville. It's a two-prong answer, and that might not be the same guy, is my point, Austen, which means if you bring a guy like Vrabel or somebody like that, you've also got to get a very good hire at OC. You can't continue to miss on that, because already this is going to be his third head coach in 5 years. So this is such an important offseason once again, to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence and these guys around him.
Well, that makes what it comes down to very simple, right? Who you want as your head coach will is determined by which of the two things you think is the bigger problem in Jacksonville. One, you think our culture is the biggest problem, and that fixing that would then catapult us into being a consistent winner. Or two, the biggest problem is that we haven't gotten the most out of our offense and Trevor Lawrence. Whichever one you think is the bigger problem is who you go get as the head coach.
I mean, you know where I stand, Hamby. It comes down to culture. And, like, I'm going to be honest, the whole Doug Peterson hiring I thought would be great for Trevor. So I was on board for that. Turns out it wasn't. Turns out an offensive-minded guy who willed the second-string quarterback to a Super Bowl in Nick Foles wasn't a good guy for Trevor. I don't know what is a good guy for Trevor. I'll be honest with you. I need the culture fix, though, first. And then we could talk about what Trevor needs. Because, like, and with all due respect to Trevor Lawrence, I'm past the point of caring now to try to cater to, like, okay, well, we need this offensive-minded genius for Trevor. No. Like, we need a complete overhaul and a rebuild in terms of culture. And I get we want to pedestal the coaching conversation of Urban Meyer did him dirty, maybe Doug Peterson did him dirty. That's fine. I was looking at with Justin Herbert. Now, I think Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence are on two different realms. Brent thinks they're a little closer, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's not even really comparable right now. But Justin Herbert's had 3 different coaches as well.
Yeah, yes.
He's had a bunch of offensive coordinators. And despite, the trouble that they faced, getting embarrassed in the playoffs to the Jaguars, he always seemed to overcome, and I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I really do. And it doesn't matter who's calling the plays. It doesn't matter who the leader is. Doesn't matter what the culture is. It just seems like Herbert can elevate anybody around him. Doesn't matter if you lose your number one receiver. Doesn't matter if you lose your best running back. Doesn't matter. Herbert can somehow elevate it. I hope Trevor can get there.
Yeah, those are good points. I think I will say this, and you said it matter-of-factly, and I know at the end of the day it doesn't work out with Doug Peterson. I'm going to tell you this. I think Doug Peterson actually did help Trevor Lawrence in a lot more ways than he'll get credit for. I think, again, I don't think we can sleep on the fact that Urban stuff was bad and the turnaround from that and just some of the things that he put in place. What I've argued over the last few weeks at times, and what I'll continue to argue when it's time to argue this point at the end of the year about whether he goes or stays or what he did and what he didn't do, is I just think there's a point where some guys, some people can get X person, X team, X business to a certain level, and then it's time to hand it off to somewhere else to go get the next step or 2 or 3 or whatever else. And I think what Doug's kind of proven here, and maybe proven a little bit in Philadelphia too, which I mean he did get to the top, but he couldn't sustain it, is my point here, is that you can get it to a point, but then that point hits a plateau. Now, in Philly, the plateau was the damn Super Bowl, okay? That's a pretty damn good plateau. Mm-hmm. But here, it was that playoff run. It was 8-3, and then it's just been a fall off the cliff. Mm-hmm. I keep, in my mind, there's just like this Mount Everest graphic that we need to make because the Jags were just climbing, and it was looking like they were chugging to the top, and they have just fallen down. And, man, if you fall down Mount Everest, it's hard to get back up. Yeah. And that's what it feels like. And so I think a little bit of that, Doug, is relative to the football team. I think some of that's relative also to Trevor Lawrence in his development. But I also would give him credit for some of the development of Trevor Lawrence. I think he got him kind of fixed, if you will, after he appeared like he could have been broken after Urban Meyer, if you get what I'm saying.
I mean, I do, but at the same time, I feel like you're only as good as your last showing, and right now your team is 2-10, and Trevor Lawrence is a part of some of those losses. So we can sit here and say, yeah, what was Trevor elevated from Urban Meyer? Well, absolutely, because let's be honest, I don't think it could have got much worse from Urban Meyer.
That's fair.
But now, like in reflection, it's like, okay, did he help Trevor Lawrence out? Sure. But where did he leave Trevor Lawrence now?
Yeah.
Well, we might have saw one of the worst games of Trevor Lawrence before he got hurt because he missed a lot of open throws. We're wondering what's going on there, and I get the injury has something to do with it. But now we're going into another season wondering, okay, well, when are we going to see, maybe a top 8 quarterback?
Yeah, that's good. Good point. Hey, listen, this is the topic of the offseason, I think it becomes, right? I mean, it's really, once they do whatever they do, I think the next months, and this is the frustrating part of it, it's going to include injury talk, it's going to include availability talk, and it's going to include where is the ceiling of this young man who seems to have a lot of talent and is the right guy for this city and franchise, most of us believe, but we haven't seen it enough yet. And it's funny, it's pretty interesting. Steph was asking me a lot about Trevor yesterday. And she's like, I was really thinking about them. It was like the mom side of it. I don't know. Like, we're old enough to be like their parents now, which is weird. Mm-hmm. But and he was talking like about him and Marissa. And he was kind of like, man, how disappointing do you think this is? Like, what is he doing right now? Like, he's not going to travel with the team probably, at least I would assume, in Tennessee this week and stuff. And she was kind of trying to just be like, get inside like their world. And she's even saying, it's like, listen, all the money in the world, that's fine. But he wants to win. He wants to be successful. He's always been successful. And I just thought it was a pretty interesting point because I thought I had an answer for it too. And I believe this. I've been around Trevor enough. I don't hang around him. I don't talk to him every day. I don't necessarily tend to know him because I wouldn't indicate that I do. But I can feel that he is probably more disappointed than anybody because he has not lived up to where he thinks he can be. Forget about where everybody else thinks he can be, but where he knows he's good. Like, he knows he's a good player. I've heard him say it. He talks about it. And I think that's his frustration the last couple of years. That was his frustration in early 22 when he came back from London and he was like, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? Like, what is, like, and he kind of flipped it. And he's so comfortable when things are good. And he's the guy, and he doesn't mind the pressure of it. I've always said this. He does not mind all of that. I think there was Blake Bortles who didn't love that. I don't think Blake Bortles loved everybody looking at him. Like, Blake Bortles wanted to be a guy that walked down the street and just blended in. And I'm not saying Trevor wants the attention. I've always said this. If you listen to me for a few years describe it, I'm just like, he's comfortable because that's the way it's been for him since he was 7th and 8th grade, walking in Cartersville, Georgia. Everybody's known who Trevor Lawrence is, from the hair to the height to the skill set. He doesn't mind being the face of Clemson. He doesn't mind being the face of college football. He doesn't mind being the face of the number 1 overall pick here, part of the faces of the NFL, face of Jacksonville. He's very comfortable in that, not because he screams ego, just because that's a place where he's lived. He's lived in that perch. And I think this is an uncomfortable place for him. And it bothers the heck out of him, is the fact that he isn't where he thinks he should be, talking about players like Herbert more or Burrow more or whatever, because I just believe in his mind, he thinks he's every bit as good as those guys.
Well, he should be. Yeah, absolutely. You got to be. Yeah, I think that's where we all build them, and I think that's where he believes he should be as well. And unfortunately not, whether it's the wins, whether it's the success, whether it's the stats, he's not at that level.
Yeah, so it was an interesting conversation Steph brought up yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like, I was thinking about Trevor and Marissa a lot yesterday. It's like, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, me neither.
But okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Take a time out. The weirdness, just the strange stuff keeps happening in Jacksonville. In the last 15 hours for Eric Armstead, it's wild, man.
Shut it down, man. Call it a season, Brent. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Austin's like,
what do we have? 4 games? 5 games? I can't remember.
Austin's
5 games.
Austin says to the group text, he's like, he sees the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, and he's like, can we just cancel the season?
Just we'll talk about it next. I don't want to
save it.
I'm gonna center myself. I'm gonna zen myself, and then we'll get into it.
We'll take a break. Hey, we have got the Salvation Army and the Jaguars Foundation Community Impact Telethon going on right now. 5th annual Red Kettle Telethon. Hey, this is a big deal. It already is underway. Obviously, you can tell it's until 6:30. If you watch Action News Jax today, CBS 47, Fox 30, all our different platforms, and right here, we're going to promote this throughout the morning and maybe even give you a live peek over there. 1-800-741-7101. I think you know exactly what the Red Kettle is all about, and Salvation Army. Mike Burrish does a fantastic job with that and his partnership along with Action News Jax. You can see the QR code right there. So, hey, if you can give a little bit this time of year, you know it goes a long way. It's really the giving season. So love to get you involved, and let's raise some money and some big dollars today on the 5th annual Red Kettle Telethon. More on that as we continue. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
It's all about basketball on the campus of the University of North Florida as the calendar turns to December. The women's basketball team picked up their second win of the season this past Saturday, 79-71 over Samford. The UNF women will now start a road trip with stops in both Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers and Tallahassee to take on Florida A&M. As for the men, they picked up win number 5 this past Friday, 78-73 over SIU Edwardsville in Illinois. The men will return to UNF Arena this Thursday as they are set to take on Warner at 7 p.m. And the UNF men's tennis team is set for action this weekend for the first time since November as they will welcome Troy to the UNF Tennis Complex. And remember, you can find schedules, tickets, results, and more at UNFospreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martinos get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code Brent20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations, Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Just excited for him.
Disregard this. This is what I want to show.
You don't want to show Travis Etienne? You want to show this instead?
Yeah, man.
This was yesterday's scene.
Show off that beautiful Bozart built F350.
Yeah, this was yesterday as we both pull in the parking lot at the same time with our trucks.
No, I'm to the curb, by the way. It's not like I'm just like not parked to the curb.
So I took a couple of illustrations of Austen trying to get in because it takes a minute. It's not easy between those two cars in that guest parking area.
No, it's not. Are you going to show the finished product? I got in there.
I don't know if Hamby has that.
Make me look bad then. That's fine.
I mean, but it did take a few minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Shout out to the
you got it
to the beautiful sensors on that F350 letting me know if I'm getting too close to a curb or another car or there's a car behind me.
Does that one have the aerial?
Brent, I'm glad you asked. Yes, Brent, it has the 360. But basically, you have like sky cameras looking at you the whole time.
Drone cam.
Yeah, you have drones following you wherever you go.
Because that's like a new upgrade in the newer cars, like newer trucks, newer cars, right? Is that up top angle?
The full 360, yeah. So I can get an aerial view of me driving. But now it's not actually like an aerial, you know what I'm saying? But it's somehow the cameras make it happen.
Because I'll tell you what, like the rear camera, which has been around for a bit, that has more of a view, like a wider angle, let's just say it's 180, I don't even know if that is, but probably is, that shows you more. It kind of freaks me out sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I think the aerial one is probably pretty good because you get a sense of spatial awareness there.
Hamby, go back to the last picture quick, please.
This one right here?
No, the last one, like the one before you cut to the us. Yes. Okay. So now, was this a credit union car next to me? Absolutely. Did I have complete disregard for that credit union car? Because I thought, okay, well, if I hit this credit union car, they're not going to care. It's not actually their vehicle. So did I push it to the limit a little bit more towards the credit union side as opposed to might have been Casey Kurtz's car on the other side? I absolutely did.
Well, by the way, be nice to our friends at a live credit union who are here visiting.
Oh, hey, no, absolutely. I mean, nothing but hospitality from the Bozart built F350. But if I was going to hit somebody or hit somebody's car, it was going to be the car that was a company car and not one of my coworkers.
What are the chances that person who was visiting probably on business here with a live credit union was able to get into their vehicle from the driver's side yesterday?
Yeah. Go in the back. Well, hey.
I think you need Olivia to get in there.
Go back into the first picture then, please. If Brent wants to break me down here, we'll break it down all day. First picture, please, Hamby. I'm within the white lines on both sides.
You are?
Okay, so.
Oh, Casey now. Is that Casey?
I don't know that that wasn't Casey. He's got a vehicle like that, doesn't he?
Yeah, that wasn't Casey.
Okay.
That wasn't Casey.
Whoever that was.
You need. Now, are you a backward parker?
Nah. Too much time. Way too much time and effort.
I do. Like, I always thought, I was like, why do people park backwards all the time? Like, I was just kind of like on the truck stuff. And then I got a truck in 2018.
Yeah.
Now my Nimnik Buick GMC Sierra plug.
Nice.
But then I got another one in 2020. And I'm like, I still don't really, but it is a geometry problem when you go forward into a parking space with a truck, depending on the width, depending on what you're trying to get into. It is a geometrical issue. And so, and I'm not too good at geometry to begin with, but so now I do park back. It's more comfortable to park backwards.
Now, you have the cameras too, though, right? You can't do it. Yeah, you just can't.
Well, I don't have the
eyeball.
I have a 2020, so I don't have the aerial camera. but I don't need it. I was a former valet
Sounds like
parker,
somebody needs
man.
an upgrade.
Former valet parker right here, dude.
I got you.
I do
got
need
you.
an upgrade, but I paid it off, so I don't really want to do it.
Isn't that the thing? Like when you pay it off, man, it's like you want to stick with it as long as
I
possible.
mean, I've paid it off. I'm like, oh, I got to ride this thing out, even though.
Oh yeah, that's why that Cadillac that I have still sits. By the way, collecting dust.
Collecting
also,
dust. By the way, are you paying for every day for the space out there?
No, it's fine. You guys are fine.
No problem. Everybody's been Everybody at this
Good.
company fights
well,
for spots, and that thing's been out there for 2 months.
Tell the company to find my key fob that I lost because I can't find the key fob to my car. So it's gonna sit there, not get started until I find my key fob.
We are doing a show from the parking lot the day that thing gets towed.
Fine. I mean,
We'll do it from being.
it's got 190,000 miles on it.
Does it
now.
really?
Yeah.
See, I'm up to 130.
There we go.
I drive 2020 up to 130. I drive a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's great. It's awesome, right? So I don't need, but I do get a little bit, when I go to Nimnik, get my oil change and stuff, I get the shakes a little bit. I'm like, oh, man. Because I usually get like.
Are they going to make you feel guilty or something? Or what?
No. I just like the new one. I like the new one because I like like I would be like almost upside down because I drive so much.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I want the warranty. So I would like, I think I make a lot of smart investments, but a lot of times over the years, my vehicle wasn't always the smartest investment.
Yeah.
Because I would drive it so much. It was a great investment in Nimnik Buick GMC, but it wasn't always my smartest. So now I'm trying to be a little smarter. I'm like, okay, I paid it off. I might as well ride it out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like the new idea. I want some of that new technology.
Yeah,
I
man.
also am like, hey, Ty, you need a truck or something? Maybe you can start paying me for this one, and that means I'll have to get a new one.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I'm gonna tell you right now. So I now have a new lifestyle that I'm expected to live with me and my son. I can't go back to the Cadillac. So because it's like a lease I have on the truck right now. Over my cold dead body, you take that truck back. Like, good luck to you. I'll handcuff myself to the steering wheel. It ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
That car is going to be in the parking lot until Ronan starts driving at 16.
Yeah. I'll be like, hey, Rones.
we got a car for you.
Hey, I'm going to be like, hey, man, happy 16th birthday.
Screw that. We'll just buy it off you. Maybe Ty will ride that.
Well, yeah, but then Ronan has to get a new key fob first. I'll be like, hey, man, happy birthday, happy
Ronan's
16th.
got 10 years to go.
Go get a key fob with
He's
hopefully
got
that
6
or 6.
hopefully that high school NIL deal you're gonna get one day, and we'll be good.
We started floating that around. Like Ty wants it because Kaylee and Ty shared a car, and he got one on their 18th birthday, and but Kaylee has it. So even Ty would refer to it as like Kaylee's car. They didn't fight over it. Ty's so easygoing, man. He didn't care, right? But also he's down at Flagler, so St. Augustine, you don't want a car down there. I mean, Steph drove down there yesterday. She was like, it was amazingly bad because of night of lights and everything.
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
It's like you just walk everywhere. So then there was this conversation about getting Ty an electric bike.
Oh, the e-bikes.
So Steph's thinking this is like a great idea. Get a bike, and Kaylee and her friend, and they're like, you can't be riding around on a bike. They were basically making fun of if Steph were to get him a bike.
Yeah.
I actually think the e-bike would be the way to go down there. I mean, why not? But
They're the way, but dude, they're dangerous, man.
They are dangerous.
Because they're fast. You can't hear them coming.
I told our news department, because they always are asking for stories. I said, I heard recently that the e-bikes are the number one reason why kids end up in the ER right now.
Well, I thought I had a friend that told me that too.
Maybe you told me.
Did I tell you that? Did I say that on the show?
I don't know. Maybe you told me it. Somebody told me it. But I just I relayed it to him. I was like, this might be a good story.
Yeah.
And it is pretty wild, man. You see those kids, even in our neighborhood, which is pretty safe.
Yeah.
But you see kids just, man, they are humming on those things.
Yeah.
Which are pretty cool, but also very dangerous.
Because, like I said, they're so quiet.
They
So
are
nobody.
quiet.
Yeah.
And they go fast, though.
I know.
You're flying. You can't pedal that fast. Or you get tired.
Yeah.
Maybe they should. Maybe that e-bike thing might not have been the best way to go. Probably safer than scooters right now, maybe, I guess.
Because you're sitting down as opposed to standing up. But Brent, I mean, we rode scooters before, man. Like that was the life back then.
I'm not sure that was safe either.
Hamby, you big scooter guy?
I was.
Yeah.
When I was 10.
I was 10. You talk about the lime scooter. We at the Super Bowl, man. We got the scooters.
Oh no, I've done those in Orlando.
Great.
Those are sweet.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was great. We had a blast with them.
That was a good time.
But I've seen it in Nashville. We're going to Nashville this weekend.
Yeah.
And I saw one dude, man, coming down a hill and go right onto Broadway, and he just bit it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not like you should not be able to get on those.
I mean, especially
Broadway.
All of them are
Yeah, I was
hammered.
going to say, on Broadway, you're probably asking for
Well,
problems.
Broadway's usually shut down right there in Nashville, but he was coming off a side street, and I don't know. I can't remember the exact circumstances, but I mean, he was just and you watched him just like, oh man, this isn't. He got up. I don't know how he got up. It was ugly. But anyway, let's get back to some talk.
You sure?
I think.
Jaguars talk?
What do you make of Eric Armstead?
Oh, man. Which part?
Well, we'll get to so Eric Armstead, Walter Payton Man of the Year award nominee, and I think listen, this part of it, and I understand there's some angst on Armstead. For me, these guys do a lot in the community. He does stuff in the community. He's been doing stuff in the community. In San Francisco, he's a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Part of the reason why I really love this acquisition is it felt like a very Calais-like player at the age, what he could do, multiple positions, all these different things. And I know it hasn't worked out, but I also think I don't want to be hypocritical in saying the whole package of Eric Armstead of what we thought we were getting in March was part of this, was the nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year. I think the community and everything else, it has, much like we've said for other players, it has really not worked out for Eric Armstead so far in Jacksonville. Now, I say so far because I'm not sure he's going anywhere. I mean, the way the contract is and everything else. But they have not got the play. Part of that is their fault, by the way, and the way this contract was set up or the agreement was set up. But I think it's unfair to a player with all the work they do in the community, the impact that you can have in this franchise, even when you have 2 wins in a disappointing season, that you can have on the city of Jacksonville. We see enough of it. And I'll applaud him for doing that. Now, the dynamic of the fact that he celebrated today, 15 hours ago, he likes this post from Azeez Al-Shaair, who Al-Shaair now and the rest of the Houston Texans have created this guy to be such a victim. And some players, the old school players that want to create him as a victim in all this is pretty wild. But Azeez is on board because this is what he shared on Instagram yesterday. And then Eric Armstead, as you can see, liked the post. I think he since disliked it once he got a lot of
you don't say, Eric?
But a lot of people had a problem with this. And I even said this is not going to go. You could sense right away it wasn't going to go over well with the fan base. And I'm interested in get your thoughts because you have a good pulse of the fan base and you have a good pulse of what social media does and is.
Which is good because I'm never on there, but yeah.
But you also have been in the locker room. So like I do think do I think this is a big deal in the locker room? Not really. Played with Azeez Al-Shaair in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
So he knows him. Should he have done it on the day that your quarterback goes on IR and is going to have surgery? And coming off what this has been, this will just go bigger picture, folks, that I said Monday and Tuesday and some of Sunday. This team right now, those 53 guys, the coaching staff, they don't hate the Houston Texans enough. They don't understand the rivalry. They don't understand what you feel about the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. And until they realize that inside that building, and that resonates inside that building, they are not going to overtake those teams, in my opinion, in this division. They need to understand. They understood it in 22 way more than they understand it right now. They do not understand enough how much you, the fan, how much this franchise, this city, dislikes those other teams in the AFC South. Not even Indianapolis, but especially Houston and where you're going this week in Tennessee. And to me, this is just another illustration of it.
Yeah, so, all right, before we get into Eric Armstead, let's address the Azeez Al-Shaair post, because I had a little comment to say about it this morning, too. Brent, that guy's name's Arthur Fleck. He's known as the Joker. He's from Batman. You know that much or not?
I did know that.
All right. Well, I
didn't know who the guy was, but I did know the Batman and Joker part.
I'm seeing where we're at. Okay. So I'm just going to say this, okay? I get we're in the age of we want attention, right? We want to feel sorry for ourselves. People are making fun of us on the internet, and I'm going to be honest. Some of the things that people are probably saying to Azeez Al-Shaair, it's not even about football. right? It's
And
about
not right, quite
it's
frankly.
about his religious beliefs. It's about where he's from and things like that. And yeah, I understand that's not right. That's the internet. Okay, the internet can be a very mean and dark place if you let it be a mean and dark place, or you just see the comments, you move on with your day and realize that it's not real life. Well, the comments seem to get to him a little bit, and he decides to go the Joker route. Along with the caption, there is a beauty in being rejected, misunderstood, unseen, unprotected by people. It teaches you to rely on Allah for everything. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But when we talk about like, all right, you're gonna have this fake persona now of Arthur Fleck and the Joker for what? Because you have nothing in common with him. If you've seen Arthur Fleck, if you've seen the movie The Joker, you realize the Joker became a thing because society pushed him to be a thing, and he had no other choice. You, Azeez Al-Shaair, have been told how many times by the NFL, hey, cut back on the dirty play, cut back on the dirty play, cut back on the dirty play. Jeff Saturday corroborated it on NFL Live or whatever it was on ESPN. And when it finally came time to say, hey, are you going to cut back on it? What do? You put your forearm into Trevor Lawrence's head, you knock him out, and now he's out for the season. So you're mad at everyone's reaction, and you're thinking, okay, they're turning you into a villain. You've been a villain. Don't act like, oh, this is the final straw. They're being mean to me on the internet. No. When you knocked out Trevor Lawrence, that was your villain arc right there. You don't need to confirm it with a cool look at me kind of post on Instagram and Twitter. Just saying, though. Okay, now with Eric Armstead.
That was well said.
Thank you. With Eric Armstead, how many times do I have to come on the show and say, can we just lose in peace?
Yeah, you said that a lot.
And I guess it's funny till it's not, because I guess it's still funny. And this is like, it's funny because we have to laugh through it. This is us being the Joker. We have to laugh through it because the truth is kind of pathetic. But how many times do I have to come in here and say, can we just lose in peace? Yes, we're not winning right now. Okay, so let's just talk about the Tennessee Titans, your big rival, a team that, bounced you out last year, that has Calvin Ridley. But we can't, because we're constantly marinating ourselves in bad optics. And once again, exhibit Z at this point. But yes, I get, this guy was a former teammate of Eric Armstead. And I get, you want to support him, that's fine. But if you're Eric Armstead, you have to understand how this is going to come across. Okay? We got to start treating social media like a privilege. And anything that you type, anything that you post, anything that you like could have consequences. Well, guess what, Eric Armstead? We're going through a hell of a season right now, and spoiler alert, people are kind of fed up with you of what you're doing. The last thing you might want to do is like a former teammate's post who just hurt your starting quarterback. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't really have much else to add to what you said. Does it bother me? No. Was it pretty obvious that it was going to bother the fans right away? Yes. Is it going to bother the guys inside the locker room? I don't think so, and probably unfortunately. This is a little bit of, this is an exclamation point in a way, as I just said before Austen got going, to Sunday afternoon, second half. The hugs after the game, we're going to be super professional, we're not going to have any skirmishes, zero tolerance, we're just going to play, oh, let's applaud that. No, that's not it. Like, this is us against them. That's what it is. And that's what it needs to be. Now, it doesn't need to be disrespectful. It doesn't need to be dirty. It doesn't need to be cheap-shotted. I'll continue to say that every time I say this. But it's us against them. This is the Red Sox and the Yankees. This is Duke, North Carolina. This is Ohio State, Michigan, or Florida State. Why don't we understand that? And how are we going to get these guys to understand that? And when is that going to happen? I get the admiration and respect. I get the fraternity, all those things. You can still have all that. But when it's in between the lines and when they're stealing your division and when they own you, that's the thing. This isn't a back and forth. They own you. You don't want this stuff. I grew up in New England. The Red Sox were owned by the Yankees for decades and decades. That place would be on fire with something like this. I mean, and it switched in the last couple of decades a little bit because the Red Sox kind of have their number a little bit. But that's what rivalries are all about. And I understand it. Listen, it bugs me even as a Red Sox fan when Johnny Damon goes to the Yankees or Wade Boggs went to the Yankees at one, right? Or now in this free agent world, you get more of that. I understand it's not yesterday. We're not getting those days back. But there can still be that a little bit. And even in the NFL where the rivalries don't run deep, but you can definitely sense it with the Ravens and the Steelers and others. There's a reason to sense it right now in Jacksonville with the way this division has been the last few years, with the franchise quarterbacks, with what seems to be at stake, and with the idea that they're really whooping your ass the last decade. How can we get the players in Jacksonville to understand that it means so much? And I don't know how you can do that, but I think that starts at the top. I think that started with Doug. I mean, that's the problem with the second half. It wasn't that they just hit your quarterback. Don't lose sight that it was the Houston Texans that hit your quarterback. That's a big part of the story. And every coach that comes in here will say, got to win the South, got to win the South, got to win the South. Well, will you damn act like it then? In moments like this? If you're going to preach that to your team, how about you act like it? You can build some of that animosity as a coach, as leadership inside that building, in the locker room. You can have that. I give Josh credit. Josh, for the last 3-4 years, and he said it again yesterday. We hate them, they hate us. Josh, I agree with you. I think you're right. I don't think the rest of the locker room hates the Titans. They don't know that. That is a learned thing. I think multiple people were asked. Brian Thomas Jr., Jarrian Jones, the young players. Had they told you about the rivalry? No. Like, they have no idea about the rivalry. They have no idea that the Titans are a hated team. There's not a history lesson that you get. That is up to older players. That is up to coaches to preach that a little bit, or at least have an underlying theme. And I will go back to 22, Austen. Doug did this so well. The Jags hadn't won on the road. They hadn't beaten an NFC team. They had not beaten the Titans in forever. They couldn't beat Houston here at home. He played that up. And now it seems like he's totally let that go to not matter anymore. And I don't know why that is. And Sunday was such an illustration of it. And this, yesterday, is another illustration that a newcomer into the rivalry doesn't understand it, doesn't get it. Would he have said this or done this in San Francisco against the Rams if the Rams owned them? I think that's one of the deals, right? The Rams have beaten the San Francisco 49ers a bunch in the last few years. Would he have done that if Al-Shaair was now playing for the Rams? My guess is no, because he would understand the way it's been against the Rams the last handful of years. But he doesn't understand. These guys live in their bubble. They don't get it. I'm not telling you they should be on social media, but somebody's got to deliver the message in there. We don't like these guys. And it's not just on Sundays for 3 hours. It's the whole week and the next couple of days after until we play them again. And they don't get that, Austen, right now. And somebody's got to share that message, especially here in Jacksonville. And then what you have, when that happens, you have this relationship with the fan base. You are now united in that same front. And when you have that, and trust me, I saw this in 2003 and 4 with the Yankees and the Red Sox. I covered every single one of those games. And by the year they went back to 2004, and part of the reason I think they won that year, and I've used this example a ton of times, they understood it after 2003. They were as pissed off that the Yankees had beaten them as the fan base had been for 80 years that the Yankees had beaten them. And there were enough people there that understood that now in that clubhouse, on that baseball field, from players and organization, that could feel the pain of the fans. We don't have that right now. I thought we had a little bit of that in 22, to be honest. I thought they could feel that. I thought Doug did a great job bringing that out, uniting the fan base in the locker room in that one common thing of, we're going to fix this. I don't know where that has gone.
All I'm going to say is this. If you don't have disdain and dislike for a team that was the underdog last year that bounced you out of the playoffs, I'm not sure if football's for you. And also, I'm not sure if this culture is fit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, it's not college football, Hamby. Like that, it's not even high school football. But every one of these guys has experienced that at some point in their life of a rival, high school-wise, college-wise. And you don't get that in the NFL. It is more fraternity than rivalry, no doubt. But you can still have respect for your opponent and dislike your opponent in the 17-game season. And you know what? If you want to go train with your buddy after that in the offseason, go have at it. That's fine.
If you're Doug Peterson, just show the film from last year where you got beat, you can go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing any of that this year.
Well, that's all it takes. You don't have to give some rah-rah speech. You don't have to make some elaborate highlight video featuring whoever, name your rapper. Literally just show the game from last year, the last game of the season, where everything was on the line. You're in Tennessee. You know what's at stake, and you choke. Just show that. And if the players can't get up for that, then maybe it's time to find some new players, honestly.
Hamby, honestly, I think you could have shown that every game this year, not just against Tennessee. I think that would have been my Saturday message every freaking time if I was Doug Peterson, and this is in hindsight now that Austen brings it up. I don't think it's just a Tennessee thing. I think you show that, you didn't finish. You didn't make people pissed off on a Saturday night like we ain't looking like that performance. We ain't looking like Rayshon Jenkins trying to tackle whoever Spears, in the first quarter of that game. Cisco trying to track, no, put that in their mind. That's why this is so important right now on every Sunday going into the year. Michigan, Ohio State, they do it, right? They put the score from the last year up. Again, Hamby, I'm telling you, Doug tapped into that in 22. I referenced it many times. It was like a college kind of motivation, which was really cool and worked. And none of it this year. At least that I know. I don't know what he's saying on Saturday nights, but I haven't heard any of that. And if he's saying it, he's saying it loud enough, or it just ain't working.
This should have been the first day of training camp. This should have been the first. That video should have been the first day of meetings. This goes all the way back to then when we asked him about Doug and everything, and they downplayed that, or at least he did. Guys like Josh Allen didn't. When we talked to them over the offseason in May and then in August. Doug was like, "Yeah, we've moved on. We're putting that whatever." No, put it on the billboard throughout every TV and every whatever in the stadium. This goes back to a conversation that we've had a couple of times. It's an overarching thing in professional sports right now where everybody wants to be buddy-buddy. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be buddy-buddy. I mentioned it before. This is the guy that gets on first base and he has a 30-second conversation with the first baseman about how his family's doing and all that, and then he goes to second and hugs the shortstop and whatever, and they used to play together and what. In between the lines, it's a different game, and I get that this isn't in between the lines. This is 3 days removed, but to me, obviously, is there a 5% chance that Armstead is one of those guys or one of those people who likes every post as he scrolls, because those people do exist. They just auto-like. But 95% of in my mind, this is, you don't care how you're seen by Jags fans. You don't care how this is going to be portrayed. Maybe
he's fed up with Jags fans. Hamby. Maybe he's fed up with the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base because of being mean to him. Yeah. Maybe he's turning the joke. Maybe two jokers in one NFL year. Whew.
Not the Walter Payton Man of the Year or nominee. Wouldn't do that.
What a villain arc! Become Walter Payton Man of the Year, and then also you become the Joker.
It's just, you got to understand how this is going to look, and this is just a.
I do think you can make a mistake. Listen,
we need media training. Doug needs it. Every player in the locker room needs it.
The league
media
seems to need it.
Training.
Brent, do you think
Houston
they can hire
Texans
you?
and D'Amico Ryans need it.
Azeez needs it.
Yeah.
Brent, start getting your services out
Sirianni
there.
needs it.
Listen, there have been so many missteps like this that are fixable stuff, like that are avoidable things. But again, a lot of this has to do, guys, with the feel. Doug has zero feel of this city, I think, and fan base. And I'm not saying you have to cater to him all the time, but you have zero feel. And I don't mean this. I think Doug's probably done some very nice things in the community, so I don't want it to come across like this. But I also don't necessarily see him engaged in the community all the time. 3 years in now. And by the way, in the last couple of years, most of the time would be pretty beloved to have. Sure, people run into him in the grocery store and out to dinner and other things, but Like, I've been kind of waiting, and we've actually been waiting and seem to want to partner up or at times with the TV station or other things on a foundational thing or whatever. I mean, but he's still got a place in Jupiter, and he goes back and forth. I mean, not during the season, I don't think, but goes back and forth. Like, he's not staking a flag here. It doesn't feel like, and it hasn't felt like, honestly. Now, that's fine if it works, but the way things have turned out this year, you kind of go back to that and say, maybe this is part of the reason it's not working. You know, I mean, you don't get it. Trevor gets it. Trevor absolutely gets it because Trevor goes to restaurants. Trevor's out and about a little bit. Trevor has a great feel for this. Doug either just doesn't care, has the blinders on, is in a bubble, or just doesn't have a great feel for a variety of reasons. And I'm not trying to hammer him on that front. I'm just saying it's part of the equation right now and why he doesn't have equity built up. And also, I think he's missed on the podium several times. And what this fan base and these folks have been through here in this city. I think you felt it when it was good in 22 because you're a hero and everything's great. But now when it starts to go sideways, do you understand it enough? Trent Baalke certainly isn't that guy. He's not the warm and fuzzy guy that's going to be out there. It doesn't make him a bad human being. It just means he's not the warm and fuzzy guy. And I think what you're seeing is a domino effect of that in this build. That's why, go back to my article, actionnewsjacks.com, why you need a guy like Baselli that understands it and can communicate it not only to those guys that are in charge, but also be a liaison between the fans and the organization and a liaison between the fans, the organization, and Shad Khan, who's got a million different interests going on. And I don't hammer him for that. I know a lot of people do, but he's a billionaire guy who's all around the world and got a lot of different things happening. I think a lot of owners do, by the way, not just him. But that's why it's so important in that article that I wrote a few weeks ago. They've got to fix it. They've got to fix it internally and find somebody that can protect and defend the organization in times like this, and also be like, Doug, you should really go out to this place, or you should do this or that or whatever, and engage these folks. It'll bring you a bunch of equity. Relationships matter. Inside the building, outside the building. And I just look at a team right now, and not everybody. Trevor does, Josh does. The guys that have been here get it. But the newcomers and some of these free agents and an Eric Armstead in this situation, I don't think they understand it in totality of Jacksonville and the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville and their place and where they've been, how they've looked, and they're not bowing up for them. And they're certainly not bowing up for them on the football field. It doesn't even look like they bowed up for their guy enough for us on their football field on Sunday afternoon here at home.
But if they don't understand it, then, like, yeah, coaches can be one thing, but it's not like Doug Pearson's from Jacksonville either. Doug Pearson's only been here for a couple of years. So then it falls on the guys that were drafted here. It falls on the guys that are making a lot of money here to go, this is how we do things. You got to follow along here. And yeah. I'm not sure that's being done either.
And it talks, because you guys are saying, it's because they live in a bubble, right? It's because they live in a bubble. Look, I'll tell you this. If Calvin Ridley yesterday still hadn't seen the Trevor hit, that tells you how much of a bubble these guys are in. He was asked yesterday if he's seen the hit, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I have respect for the bubble now. That's a tighter bubble than people really, because it doesn't feel like real life. And I've said this to you for years. And it's amazing, the bubble that these guys can actually live in. I don't know how they do it, but I respect it.
Well, that's why, you talk about guys not understanding the rivalry, not understanding what it means to the city, not understanding Houston owning us. They probably have no idea, some of them, free agents.
I don't think it's I can't necessarily blame them, but I can blame somebody. Like, that's a problem institutionally that people need to realize that more. They need to know this stuff cuts deep. And again, I'll say it, Doug showed it. Doug learned about it. Doug knew about it against Tennessee. The Tennessee one was a big one. I mean, he literally showed those guys videos of the last 20 years against Tennessee in 2022. Mm-hmm. He showed them that on a Saturday night like it was a Michigan and Ohio State game. And here's one other thing about Doug. Doug knows how much, like, the city resonates with a football team. He gets it. He knew it in Philly because he was a player. He was an assistant. And then he was the head man. He got that one. He knew that one, right? I don't know if I felt like he knew it in 22. But I don't know if he just tuned it out because he thought he had it. Maybe he didn't need it anymore, didn't need to feel that anymore. But for some reason, I just don't think these kind of thoughts and feelings and everything else are being passed down to this new crop of players. And that's the nature of the NFL now. Not everybody in 22 is still here.
See, I have a hard time believing that you can change up so much as a coach from 22 to 23 to 20. Like, I have a hard time believing, like, why? You know, like to me, it comes down to more are the players not buying in anymore? Are they just not?
Yeah.
Are they not on board? Because like if you're a coach, I mean, you preach consistency. You preach not making the mistakes. And as a coach, you got to do that yourself, right? Like if you have a message, you have to consistently get that message across. And I agree with you, like the message isn't being received this year. Players aren't getting pissed off playing the Tennessee Titans, whatever the case may be. But this comes back to, this is why I think some players in that locker room, and we may not see it on the field, but maybe aren't buying in, have maybe checked out a little bit and said, like, who cares?
Yeah, I think you're very right. And I've explained this way to people, and at least this is just my interpretation of what's going on. I said this on Monday. This actual locker room is still listening to Doug. In fact, they believe in Doug because they totally took off. The dogs backed off in that second half because he said, "Don't get ejected, right? Don't be no cheap shots, no this, no that." Like to the point of where they almost took it too much, in my opinion. So it's not that he doesn't have them, but I do think the message on a Wednesday in a meeting or today right now in a meeting, my guess is if you look at 2022 and you watch a meeting, they're probably like this. Guy walks in with a Lombardi trophy. They had him off Urban Meyer. They were pissed off for losing. They had the scar tissue. He's trying to be the healer and also the guy that brings them to where they want to go. All ears perked up. Mm-hmm. Now, after 8-3 and 3 years of it, those same guys probably a little bit more like this.
Yeah, because you're not winning.
Well, not
You're
only
pissed.
that, but even at the start of the year, like, I got you, Doug. Yeah, I know where you're coming from. Like, I'm hearing it, but I'm not really hearing it. Like, it's just, like, what I say is no different than if you have kids. Or when your parents used to yell at you or say something to you, it's like, sometimes it took like 4 or 5 times to say it because you had heard it so many damn times, like 4 or 5 times to listen to it the right way, or they had to tell you a different way. So you got your attention. I mean, my mom tried to wake me up all the time. It took her like 6 times because I knew she was going to keep going until I got up.
Yep.
Right?
Cold water. Boom.
Until she suddenly like swore.
Mm-hmm.
Like that got my attention.
Sure.
That's my point. This is simple communication where I think as the message got a little stale, you've heard it so many times with some of the guys that have been here the last few years that it doesn't resonate the same way. Is that a Doug problem? Well, at the end of the day, yeah, because you got to find a different way to resonate. Harbaugh's been in Baltimore forever. Tomlin's been in Pittsburgh forever. It still resonates to some degree. So that's your mission, is to somehow find a way to communicate it so you hear it better. And I think there's a little element of a simple communication game going on in Jacksonville where it's not that they tuned him out. It just takes a little bit of a, not as harsh on their ears, as it did in 2022. That's my interpretation of it. That might be too easy of a defense, quite frankly, of this football team right now. But I think there's a little bit of just human nature that's here with the Jaguars and why the details, the urgency, right? The all those things that allow you to win more than one game when you have a 1-score game and 8 losses this year. Mm-hmm. That's been one of the big problems. So, and I think all of this falls under that. Eric Armstead, to his defense, I just don't think he knows that this fan base and this town hates Houston the much they hate him. I honestly, if you ask him that today, if we end up down there, I don't think he knows that.
But see, I don't think it has anything to do with that. It has, we hate Houston, but Tennessee's the bigger rival.
It is. It has been.
I mean, absolutely. I remember
this week Houston's the bigger rival.
Well, of course, but once again, the rivalry isn't built in, I feel like, of years of the Texans getting, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. It put it on a new map because your starting quarterback got taken out for the season.
Yeah.
So, Eric Armstead may not know what the Texans and Jaguars represent. You may not know the inner workings of the AFC South and who hates who and everything, but you have to have the foresight to go, hey, my starting quarterback just got knocked out for the season. I probably shouldn't like a post from the guy who did it.
Yeah. No. That could have just been a misstep on his part, in that way. Mm-hmm. And it was bad. I will say this. These guys are still young. Like Eric Armstead's been around a long time. He's a 30-year-old guy. That you can make mistakes like that. And obviously he learned pretty quick because he unliked it.
Did he? I don't know. Cause
I think somebody said he unliked it.
Yeah, but Delphonics got in the chat a little bit ago and said he still saw it.
Oh, he did still see it. Okay, I just heard that he had unliked it, but maybe I'm wrong. So what a wild thing, right? That's where we're at, by the way, in Jacksonville, when Instagram can get everybody turned up. Instagram like can get everybody turned up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But that's where
I get it though. I mean,
I kind of get it.
I understand it.
Listen, this week you get you again.
Doesn't make you look-
Same day your quarterback goes out for the rest of the year. It's a good thing the NFL didn't reduce that suspension on the day the quarterback goes out.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year, right? That was a smart move by the NFL. I'll say that. And some people still believe he should be out for as long as Trevor's out. And again, I don't know if I fall in line with that. I'm kind of okay with the 3 games. I thought it was a pretty stiff penalty. I thought it was a pretty loud statement. I'm pretty pleased with the way the NFL handled it overall, if you take the emotion out of it. I also get other people wanting a little bit longer. I think you were one of those two that could have said, hey, a little bit longer would have been okay, like the rest of the season. Let's take a time out. We're way late. We'll get to more of this stuff and some other things still on the way here on a Thursday as the Jags keep carrying us into Never Land, it feels like, here in December. We got some Iceman action tonight at the arena, but also tomorrow at the arena and on TV. My TV Jacks. We're excited about this, so check it out tomorrow at 7 o'clock. If you want to watch a little hockey on My TV Jacks, part of the Action News Jacks family of networks, and there's where you find it on the right side of your screen. It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Building off a summer of terrific action at Southern Oaks Stadium, the Jacksonville Armada are looking forward to the future and the return of pro soccer in Northeast Florida. Season ticket reservations for MLS Next Pro are underway, and for just $100, you can lock in some great benefits when it comes to supporting the boys in blue. Those who make a reservation will have first selection options in the new Armada Stadium out east, near Jacksonville's downtown sporting complex, as well as access to supporter VIP events like stadium tours, open training sessions, and future meet and greets with players and coaches. You can make your season ticket reservations at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket. And while you're there, read the very latest on the Armada men's and women's teams in action this summer. Show your commitment to the fleet with an MLS Next Pro season ticket reservation at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket.
Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars. You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Yeah! Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Had some cool pictures from Marcel Robinson from the game the other day, and My Cause, My Cleats, and of course that was pregame for the Jags. Do you know who that is?
That's Jarrian.
Oh, is that Jarrian Jones? Okay. Good deal. It is interesting to see how some guys, obviously a little meditation before the game, right?
Oh,
Get
yeah.
your headspace right. We're going to talk a little bit about Jarrian Jones, in just a moment. That one painter First Coast, that would be a cool one to paint. Paint that picture right there. We do the Paint the Play weekly on the Brent and Austen Show. You can get that one painter First Coast to paint your house or a variety of projects you don't want to handle. Let the professionals do it. Visit thatonepainter.com/first-coast or call 904-643-3025. That's 904-643-3025. Thatonepainter.com/first-coast, and we'll have Paint the Play tomorrow here on the Brent and Austen Show.
Zach Potter and I used to have dunk contests on the goalpost for our pregame routine. Yeah, and then one time we got yelled at by like the grounds worker because you gotta bring it home with authority. You know, I was doing like 360s between the legs and then dunking it, and then one time like where were we even at? Might have been New York. Playing the Giants, maybe? I don't know. But like, I remember the guy came up and was just like, "Can you guys not?" And I'm just like, "All right, sorry." And then I proceeded to like kind of do it again, but like kind of do like a layup, then a finger roll. Yeah, man. Good times.
That is a good time. Programming.
Never beat me once, by the way.
He never did? Well, that's what you said.
Hey, no.
You got to call out Potter a couple of times on this show.
I have called him out, yeah.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
He's back in Nebraska now, right?
Chilling in Nebraska, I'm sure. Yeah, doing what you do in Nebraska. I don't know.
Probably right now.
Corn. Okay, yeah, you're right. I guess it's wintertime, isn't it? Yeah.
Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, and just a programming note today. Just saw Stuart Weber sharing some programming notes about Fleet and Footy. That is today at 2 o'clock, our soccer show with the Jacksonville Armada. So Stuart Weber this afternoon, 2 o'clock on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We'll also have the locker room. So all the sound that we gather, there's some pretty good stuff yesterday. We just put it all into 1.5 hour show. That's 1 o'clock here on the network. And then we replay Jags Report live at 1:30 right into the soccer show with the Jacksonville Armada, Fleet and Footy appropriately named. We do have Jaguars All Access tonight. That will also air on the network, but also on Fox 30. And come on out to String Sports Brewery in Springfield. Trayvon Walker will be our guest tonight on the show. Having a nice year. Can he finish it off in style? I think one of the things to watch, some of these personal milestones, I think we kind of have to rally around and hope a guy like Trayvon Walker finishes off a terrific third season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. As for the sound and Jarrian Jones, This guy might be a fan favorite just like that. Now, he's a cool dude. We've actually had him on the show before. He's a fun, energetic guy. And what I've noticed with Jarrian Jones, especially, hold on, sorry, that's my computer going off like that.
Brent had him in. I thought that was mine for a second.
I'm looking at the same thing because I'm like, I don't have my phone on. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Took me a minute to realize it was my computer.
Good,
what I've noticed about Jones, and this is why you need more guys like Jarrian Jones. When you see a little bit of this interview, when I was there interviewing him yesterday, when I've interviewed him at times over the season, I think he's a guy that's having a pretty nice year as a rookie player. I think he's going to be a good player for the Jags. But I think he freaking hates losing, and he wears it. It's not okay. I do think there's a little bit of a problem right now in Jacksonville where subconsciously, okay, this isn't a conscious thing, the Jags have accepted their fate. That it was going to be a weird year, and it wasn't going to work. And anything they did, every time they tried to climb that mountain, they just wouldn't be able to get over the hump and get on the right end of the scoreboard. I don't think a guy like Jarrian Jones has yet accepted that. One, because he probably didn't know that's what happens in the league sometimes. But I like the fact that he is not happy right now in Jacksonville being 2-10. And I'm not suggesting that anybody is happy. I'm just saying it's hitting a young player like that hard. And I like to see it. I think people like to see it. But obviously the big story with Jarrian Jones yesterday was more about getting ejected and what happened in Houston. Here's what he had to say.
When did you find out about Jerry?
Get some more victories like that. I mean,
hold on. Hey, come back up.
Together, but want to win, So I mean, if we can not fight and win, I'm gonna take that 10 times out of 10.
Jarrian, how much is this the whole Sunday still bothering? Hey, bring us back out. Hamby, that's late in the game there. Get to the start. If you need help, or I can kill some more time for you to get it, or we'll do it in the next break. But we'll get the start of Jarrian Jones. That was too late in the game. But we'll get it.
Dude wins some money, and all of a sudden he's all good now, huh? Dude won some money playing poker last night.
We have the whole big file of all the sound on one thing. And that fooled old Hamby.
Hamby.
I have to start it with ETN and then I'll
take it easy here. Okay.
There it is.
Why do you have to fast forward? I don't want to fast
Brent's
forward.
Brent's going to turn into the Joker. Brent's turning into the Joker.
To be there, for
You're still too late in the game.
That's at the beginning when he's talking.
Oh, no, now you are at the beginning.
I do the same thing for all 70 guys or however that make up, the Jags organization. So, it's kind of one of those things where, it's kind of, but nah, so yeah.
What was, when you did get back to the locker room, what was the reaction from the guys when they got to talk to you afterwards?
My brothers kind of had my back, they just kind of told me they respected everything, how it went and, what I did, but, grand scheme of things, you can't get ejected from the game. That's just something you can't do. And, I'm probably going to have a hefty fine coming for it, but,
D'Amico Ryan said he felt like you guys overreacted. Is that how you think any team would have reacted to their quarterback getting hit like that?
I don't even want to talk about that guy.
Yeah, it's fair. What did you think of the 3-game suspension?
So that's the money bite, right?
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that guy.
Love it.
Yeah. Give me more of that. Give me more of that.
No handshakes after the game. No, hey, I'll drive to the airport if you need it. No, I ain't talking about that guy. He's not in my mind right now. Forget him.
Now, what I'm wondering about a little bit.
Extension.
Yes, extension.
Extension. First rookie ever get extension. Extension right now. Shad Khan, you listening? Extension.
Where does that come from, do you think, is what I was trying to figure out? Was it because he heard him talk Monday about the Jags escalating?
Oh, I mean,
and Trevor getting down. It's probably heard about all that, right?
To have, right? I mean, even if you're not on, unless you're Calvin Ridley, I feel like even if you're not on Twitter, like, I'm sure word got around in the locker room a little bit.
Yeah, which is good. That's what we want. Like Doug did say yesterday, he was surprised, and then he immediately I got a lot of respect for D'Amico Ryan. So it's like, man, do we wear the shield? Or I mean, holy cow, this fraternity is too tight sometimes.
It's wild.
Right? Like you can get pissed off at somebody. D'Amico did. D'Amico threw your team and guys under the bus.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going to hammer. Yesterday, Doug was much better, but this is what you want. This is what you need. This is what we wanted in the locker room after the game, quite frankly. A little bit more of this. Don't even. And you can feel Jarrian Jones there. That's what I like. I think the Jags need more of that. This is a guy that gets it. Now, some of that probably is because of the youth. He's probably on social media more than these other guys.
Yeah,
he hasn't kind of found his comfort zone, but that's okay. I think the Jags need some of that in their locker room and get it and at least talk to the fans. The fans love Jarrian Jones right now for two reasons. It has nothing to do with play. It's because he came to the defense of their quarterback. And because he said that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even sure I don't even know if we know how well he's playing, but Jarrian Jones jerseys are about to go up in terms of sales. And that's really what we were kind of asking for coming out of the game. Not jersey sales, but more guys that get it and relate to how everybody else in Jacksonville was feeling.
Yeah. And once again, we're not asking after that Texans game to go out there and get in a brawl and punch people in the face and get ejected, per se. But what the fan base and what we're all expecting is like, don't tolerate it though. And you can respond in various ways. Exhibit A right there, Jarrian Jones coming out and saying, I don't want to talk about him. Simple phrase.
Said a lot.
Simple phrase, few words, speaks volumes. That's all that it takes right there to know, hey, that was kind of unacceptable. I don't agree with it. Enough said.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to, Delphonic says, I don't think you're going to find him liking a post like that, and I think YB400 says we definitely have a decent core. I think they do have a decent core. I think there's a lot of stuff like that. Killer Tofu, great response. I think fans like that stuff. I believe in part the Jags didn't make a move after the Detroit game because this is only my belief, okay? I'm not telling you this is what I know. So let's clear this. Right away. I don't want to be taken out of context here. I believe it was so loud from us, not just us, but the media, from the fan base after that loss, that in a sense they didn't want to look like they were responding to the fans and responding to the noise. And I kind of get that. I think you've got to have a balancing act where you don't always just respond to the noise and do something because. But I also think sometimes you do need to respond to the noise. And again, tough deal. As a $1 billion organization, all those things, tough. When to pick that, when to do that. But I do think that's why we are so, Thursday of this week, we're still on this Sunday game because the Jags misstepped at times, and then you get guys that do step up like this because that's the delicate balance of, hey, are you with us or not here in Jacksonville, right? Or are you living in such a bubble that you don't get it?
Yeah. And listen, I don't think this is Jarrian Jones really even appeasing to the fan base or like listening to the noise. Like, because if you listen to that, and we can't play the whole thing because there's some language, and hey, man, as one artist when it comes to bad language to another, I respect it. Just can't say it on the show. But I think when you talk about Jarrian Jones, like, and maybe there was a little bit of the fan base included here, but the reaction from when Trevor got hit tells me everything. Like he went swinging. He went after somebody. And if you look at the interview that he talks about, he keeps referring to Trevor as his brother, as his brother, as his brother. That's the verbiage that you want to hear. That's the dialogue that you want to hear in a locker room. That's the culture that we're all trying to see here, that Jaguars fans want to see. It's sticking up for one of your own. Right? And I think that's what it comes down to. And once again, you can go about it different ways. You don't got to punch somebody in the face if it happens, but you at least have to be a little pissed off about it. And it was refreshing to hear a rookie, nonetheless, come out and say, hey, I'll stand up for my brother. I was sticking up for my brother.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, he said, I think, a little bit more what we wanted Doug to say about Jarrian Jones. He said, listen, I would do that to any of the 70 guys I'm with.
Yep.
Not even just Trevor, but I would do that. But I also can't get ejected. I can't hurt my team by getting ejected. And that's okay. Like, you can at least back your teammate up and probably not swing and get ejected so you can learn from it. But that's kind of what we wanted Doug to say on Sunday. Like, I get the emotion. I almost appreciate the emotion. I appreciate him sticking up for his teammate. But he also can't get ejected because it hurts the football team. We have to find that balance. As a young player, he'll find that balance. That's what I think we wanted to hear from Doug Peterson instead of, well, he's got to be the bigger man, right? Not really. Because guess what?
Because nobody can relate to that.
No, nobody can. Right now, if I need somebody to get in a street fight with, I'm going to pick Jarrian Jones out of anybody else in that locker room.
Yeah.
Right now. Like, that's what you want. You need some of that. This is a violent game. You need some of that. And by the way, this is why they like Azeez in the places that he's been. And why I think
why they're defending him.
Why they're defending him. And I said this earlier this week. As much as Jacksonville is not going to like that guy, and I get it, and they shouldn't, I think the Jags need maybe a couple more guys that play that style of ball. Now, not dirty, but toe the line, right? They toe the line a little bit. And I think we wanted to see that Sunday. We wanted to see more guys in the second half toe the line, not necessarily cheap shots or penalties, but maybe a skirmish here or there that said, hey, we're here. We're here, and you're in for a street fight in the second half because of what you just did to our guy. If Jarrian Jones had played in the second half, I feel like we would have got that a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like we would have got that from him. Hey, let's take a break. You got something for us, Amy? Are you good? Let's take a time out. We'll come back. Talk a little bit about the Fortegra Invitational. We'll get back to football, of course. A lot going on here in Jacksonville, plus some other big picture stories like or topics. You know, Austen has a thought. We're talking so much about culture coming off this game. What organizations around the NFL right now get it right? Right now that you got to be like, man, and what makes them get it right? I think is more important because you can't just grab their culture. You probably can't grab their people.
But much like your article that, is it still on the website?
It's still on the website.
Are there still some
severed head is or not?
Well, hey, come for the severed head, stay for Brent Marno's article. But, I mean, much like the Lions, what other teams can you maybe model off a little bit and say, look at how they're doing things. We want to do that the right way.
Yeah, that's Fortegra High School 912 Invitational is a week from today. We're excited about it. We're going to have 10 games over Thursday, Friday, Saturday right here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. More to come throughout the weekend. Coming up next, University Christian head basketball coach has a big game tonight, by the way, we'll talk about. He'll join us here on the show, on the Brent and Austen Show here on a Thursday. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service. A meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, it's signing day for area kids and really all across the country. Early signing day on Wednesday. So congratulations to all the kids and the coaches and moms and dads and obviously the schools. If your favorite school like Florida State got Tayshawn Gelsey to flip from Florida to Florida State. Nice young man, by the way, who's now playing this basketball season for Riverside. He'll play in our Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational that we're showing on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. That is coming up a week from today, and we're looking forward to that. We'll have more from signing day, not only today, but also tomorrow on Stadium Pulse with Jason Hamby as we try to break things down. Florida State really rallied. They've had some negative momentum, of course, all year. They've had guys being taken away from them on the recruiting trail, but I think they did much better than anybody thought they would do, actually, on Wednesday, and we'll see what it translates to as Mike Norvell trying to fix things out there in Tallahassee. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Jason Hamby, and right now we are going to continue our kind of whip around this next couple of weeks, talking about some of the local basketball teams that are playing in the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. And Jody Bailey joins us right now from the University Christian basketball program. And from what I've been told, one of the best programs in the city this year are the UC Fighting Christians. Coach, that comes with a little bit of pressure, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know which one person told you that one, but that one person, they need to get their eyes checked.
You're not sneaking up on anybody, it doesn't sound like. And hey, you can't sneak up on anybody when you walk into a gym because you got two big fellas on your basketball team, like the size of 6'9", 6'10", I believe it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're blessed. We're very grateful and thankful for the players that we do have, but we do have two boys that are unique in this city. One is 6'10", that's Adalbert Alate, and the other is Augustine Allowine. And, having two is, it's tricky because in high school it's a little bit different how the game is played and how the game is refereed. but for us, what we've done is we've incorporated them and worked on their individual improvement, and we feel like they have made a jump from last year to this year.
That is unusual. It's unusual at the collegiate level where we see with Jacksonville University and University of North Florida have two guys of that size. Never mind at the high school level. And these guys are big. Like, we're not talking about, we ran into them at the high school media day, and they are presences. They look like they can really play. They look like really good athletes. How do you defend it if you're other teams? That's got to be tricky and a great advantage for you guys.
Well, a lot of teams have put pressure on our guards. And so by doing that, then they've elected to ball pressure our guards. So it makes it harder for us to pass the ball inside. And so that's what some of the teams have done. And then also teams have doubled the post and whenever the ball goes in there. As you can imagine, if one of our bigs, if they do unfortunately put the ball on the ground, then they become their size of their opponent. So instead of them being 6'9", they're now 5'9". And so that makes them an easier target to defend.
I think you were telling us, so you guys were telling us a little bit about their background. Tell us a little bit more about these two guys, and we'll talk about the rest of your team. I don't want to just focus on these guys, but obviously it's unique, and I think they have some unique stories, right? Where are they going? Where they came from? How did they get to you guys?
Well, I wasn't here when they arrived, but they came from Ghana, and we also have two other players that are from Ghana, and so we're fortunate that they're here with us. All four of them are seniors. They make outstanding grades. Adalbert, we call him, his nickname's AD, and there's 70 some odd kids that are graduating in our senior class, and he's top 7.
Wow.
So he has outstanding grades, and so does Augustine. And so does Simon and Ponsa, and so does Henry Arthur. They all four of them, they have really great grades. And it's fascinating when I've heard some stories of them, when they grew up and how their teachers over there are extremely strict, and it's a different level of, if they miss, I was told this one by them, if they're trying to sign their name or whatever, and it's not right, man, they are in trouble from their teachers. From every little thing, like those teachers over there in Ghana, they were on top of everything.
Do you see that translate from the detail on the basketball court too, and how they go about their business?
Yes. You sit there and just listen to them, because they speak in their language, and then they'll speak English. And then that's kind of confusing. But what happens is, when they're doing it, they're explaining, then they'll explain to me what they said. And I'm like, yep, that's right. That's what they should do. And so.
What a neat thing for you guys to be around, but also the other kids on the team to be around. Obviously, the students at University Christian, pretty neat. Now, where are they looking at the next level? Because both of them are seniors.
Yes, Augustine has already committed, and he has signed with Presbyterian College in South Carolina, and AD is still available, and so is Simon, and so is Henry.
Okay.
AD will probably get, he's getting a lot of looks right now. But it's just a different ball game when it comes to recruiting in college nowadays, because of the portal, the NILs, the transfers, and a lot of colleges, a lot of universities, they want to get old and stay old.
Oh, looks like we just lost him for a minute. We might get him back. Oh, there we go. You're back. Hamby, bring me back out here. Maybe we might have hit. When we lost him there for a second, let's just check with Coach. If Coach can still hear me, might have hit your, just check your microphone on there. I think what he was starting to say was pretty interesting about where we're going in college basketball. And remember, prep school's always been a big deal in college basketball, even back in the day, right? That prep school year, it was big. We've actually talked about it in the baseball world, if that should start to be a thing, because everybody wants to be old. That is true. Everyone wants to be old in college sports, for that matter. Baseball, basketball, and football, and other sports as well, the way the landscape is right now. So that's pretty interesting. Not many times. That will showcase it, Austen, really. A 6'10" guy.
Yeah, I would say so.
A 6'10" guy that still is out there. I mean, there's no way that guy's still out there probably probably 3 or 4 years ago.
That's insane.
But I just think it shows like people don't, it's not necessarily lack of development. I think coaches want to develop. I just think they know they're not going to ride with a young player right now.
Yeah, with the portal and everything, man, it's just like it's kind of just like an a la carte of, hey, what do I need right now?
Yeah, it's more what do you want? What do you need?
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
We got Coach back on here, Hamby, or no? Looks like we lost him.
Yeah, ask him if he can hear us.
I can hear you.
Okay,
here we go.
All right, good. We got him. It looks like. Sorry, Coach, lost you for a second. We won't keep you much longer. But I guess we were just talking about, as you were talking. I mean, that's just the nature of the sport right now. Is nobody wants young players, right? At the collegiate level, for doesn't matter how good you are. It seems like.
No, and it's fascinating because now 20 years ago, kids were getting redshirted a lot more, but now they're not getting redshirted. And then also, coaches have to win. And if not, they're getting fired. And so they don't want to get fired with freshmen.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. And so a lot of kids, like it's fascinating to watch. I've lived it. And I know how the recruiting piece is. And so it's for high school kids, they need to find a home and find it fast.
All right, hey, let's wrap up with you and let you run. Fortegra High School 912 Invitational coming up next Thursday, Friday, Saturday at FSCJ. Love to see everybody out there. If you can't, we're going to have 10 out of the 12 games right here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, including the first-round game for University Christian. You might as well start this tournament tonight, though. You guys are at Jackson. I think you're at Main Street tonight. What a nice matchup here on a Thursday to get you set for next week.
Yeah, Jackson's really good. Coach Byron's got a really nice team over there, and we play them tonight. Then tomorrow, on Friday we'll play IMG, and on Saturday we'll play Trinity Catholic from Ocala. We're hosting Saturday a Veterans Classic with Bishop Kenny playing IMG at 2:00, and then we will play Trinity Catholic from Ocala on at 2 and 4.
Wow, how about that? And overall, like you could see Jackson in the second round, depending on what happens with their game and your game at 4:00 next week in the Fortegra. But this field's pretty good, isn't it? You know local basketball, and these are 8 good programs and good teams.
Real good teams, but I tell you, Tecoy Creek's pretty good. They're well coached. They do a good job, and then we're going to play Nice, and they do a fantastic job with how they reverse the ball and get extra looks. So we have our hands full, and but we're just so thankful and honored to be a part of this event. It's prestigious. Last year was my first year here in Jacksonville, and when I heard about the Fortegra event, I was like, we have got to get in there. And I figured out who to call and begged them, and they said, yeah, come on, let's go. And we're just so thankful for the invite.
Hey, we are too. First time for us of being a part of it with the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. So tell everybody at UC they can watch your games next week right here on ActionNewsJax.com and the Action News Jax app. Jody Bailey, good catching up with you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. That's Jody Bailey, UC head coach in basketball, as we continue to visit with all the coaches from those 8 teams. Brent Martineau here, along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby. Back to the football side of things. I mentioned culture before the break, and we're talking so much culture stuff. It feels like, I don't know why everybody hates it. I feel like every time somebody says that word now, like, oh, I got to say the culture word. I don't know where that came from. Like, culture's a thing. Like, I don't think it's a buzzword.
Well, no, it's not a buzzword, but I think it might be too broad for some people. Like, what does culture mean?
Yeah.
I think people want you to be more specific sometimes.
I got you. Well, you can define it however the hell you want. But
there you go.
Problem is when you're 2-10, it ain't good enough. How about that?
Correct.
So who do you look at around the league and you think of? We often will say in the same breath of a Baltimore or Pittsburgh, because those organizations, for some Pittsburgh's case, 40 years, Baltimore's case, at least 20, 25 years, has felt like they're always in the mix. And let me tell you something. That doesn't mean you win Super Bowls. These are 2 teams that have won one Super Bowl in the last, 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
But they are respected. You know who they are. You know what they're all about. You know their coaches, right? You know what to expect when you walk into the building and when you walk into their stadium on a game day or when they walk into yours.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, I think the Bills fit this mold.
Yeah.
In terms of culture.
And that's new.
I think Sean McDermott kind of turned that whole thing around a little bit. Obviously, with the emergence of Josh Allen as well. I think he kind of helped things out. But, Yeah, I mean, I think they're a team right now, once again, haven't had the Super Bowl success per se, but they're a team that, and it's wild too, because what was it, the 9-6 playoff game?
Yeah.
And to see where these two teams are now, it's insane.
Well, I guess it was a 9-6 playoff game. It was in the middle of the season. You talking about the Jags?
Well, yeah, I was talking about when the playoff game when the Bills came here to
10-3.
Jacksonville.
That was a 10-3
it was 10-3?
Yeah.
I don't think it was 9-6.
No, 9-6 was in the middle of the year when Urban's year.
Oh, you're right.
And
I was talking about the playoff
and
game.
the Jags weren't good, and they beat Buffalo 9-6, crazy enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually until this year, it was a little bit of a run the Jags were on against the Bills over the last 7-8 years.
That came to a crashing halt.
Well, it has. But what's interesting about Buffalo that you say that is you don't have to have time on your side when it comes to the Buffalo Bills example. Buffalo Bills have turned that in the last handful of years.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers and Ravens, they've done it for 20, 25 years and longer.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's a tough one to catch up to. But Buffalo is a good example, I think, because if you know what they are, they weren't that. At times last year, they weren't that early in the season. And then they kind of re-identified themselves, if you will.
No, without a doubt. And necessarily, even some winning teams, maybe I wouldn't want their culture. Now, let's go through the list here. I mean, the Dolphins. How do you think people about the Dolphins culture?
Nah.
Doesn't do it for you? Hammy, feel free to join in here too as well.
It doesn't stand out.
Okay. Jets, obviously, absolutely. I mean, no. Right? Jets, no?
No.
Patriots.
Not anymore, I don't think. But I'll tell you this. I still think the one thing Mayo's carried over and the Patriots have carried over after 20 years of winning again, I think that's a tough one to duplicate because of the amount of success. The fact that I feel like they're going to be in games.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Even if their roster's not that good, right?
They may have found their quarterback as well. Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean towards no, but I keep in mind, listen, look at what they have to replace, right? They're replacing Bill Belichick. They're replacing Tom Brady. They're replacing a dynasty, if you will. That takes time. And do you think something like that afterglow is still there in that city, in that organization, or is it gone?
I think it's kind of gone.
Okay.
I think it goes quick.
We'll say no on the Patriots.
And I think it's gone.
Okay. Steelers, yes.
Yes.
Hamby, yes. Okay. Ravens?
Yes.
Yep, I'd say so too. Mm-hmm. Although, the whole Deontay Johnson thing's weird to me still. I get that's just one little wrinkle in a long storied franchise.
Pretty weird for me too.
Weird for Hamby, who's probably not out of the fantasy football playoffs, but I don't get it. And then now he's suspended a game, right?
Well, you don't get the acquisition of it.
Well, I don't get what's going on.
Well, there's a couple of things to me. It's they can take chances because of their culture on a guy like Deontay Johnson. They can also suspend him because of their culture.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like, hey, do that here. See ya.
Look at the Patriots with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that also allows you, where other teams are like, oh man, we really need this guy to hit developing our, you don't have that with those guys. What else you got?
The Bengals.
Yeah, see, I think the Bengals don't have it yet. I don't know what they are. I don't know what it is. I know they've got a good quarterback, and they got good receiver, and they got a pretty good offense. But if you sit here and tell me what the culture, I'm not sure I'm trying to emulate the Cincinnati Bengals.
They've been to a Super Bowl though, but I got it. Okay. I mean, I'm probably with you. The way it looks now.
Yeah.
Okay. Browns, no.
No, because the Jags have tried to be the opposite of the Browns. They've try to be more like the Steelers' Shad Khan, I would say, with continuity, consistency, instead of 20 different coaches and 20 different quarterbacks in a 25-year span. And I will say this about the Browns. The Browns are trying to get out of that as well. They're keeping Stefanski around, right? I think they've already announced it, or maybe they haven't announced, but people have reported that he's going to stay through this. And they tried with Deshaun Watson. Now they made a mess out of that, right? Yeah. They are perpetually making a mess out of things.
Yeah, it's horrible, man.
So you don't want to be like the Browns.
Okay, let's get in the AFC South, the Texans.
I mean, I guess now, I think it's still too early to know, but I think they're on their way. Let's just say they're on their way.
Yeah, that's fair. It's still too early to tell, right? Because it's really a 2-year sample size from a culture before, which was kind of a joke.
It was a joke.
In a lot of ways, but say what you want about the Houston Texans, they do seem tight-knit.
Well, that's true.
And
I'll say that.
if you want to have the us versus the world mentality, I think Detroit has a little bit of that as well. I think there's benefits to having that.
And here's the deal. Even with their quarterback struggling a little bit or not playing to the degree that they thought he would play this year, they are still right where they need to be, in part because of their defensive-minded coach. And defensive guys, we always say, is culture-based. Yep. They've got a defense that keeps them in football games. And when Joe Mixon, they brought him in to run hard, and that guy runs hard, and he fits what they are trying to do. And when you need 5 yards at the end of the game, he got it.
The Colts.
No, don't know who they are.
Titans? No.
No, they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, with Vrabel.
But with Vrabel and Derrick Henry gone, we don't know.
So, yeah, with Vrabel, like, did I want that? I mean, listen, I don't say I appreciate the Titans, but, I respected the Titans because they didn't have a lot to work with, but it seemed like they optimized what they had. And I think any team would take that.
Yeah.
So advantage Titans in the past. Well, now it's whatever.
I would take optimization here in Jacksonville right now.
You'd take anything. Kansas City, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Chargers.
I think they're building it.
They're building it.
I think you know what it is already, which is pretty loud in 12 games in.
We're seeing it, but remember, it didn't end that great for Harbaugh in San Francisco, though. He had success.
I think he's a different guy.
Okay.
I really do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Broncos.
I don't know yet. No.
Okay.
Raiders. Are they Sean Payton and Bo Nix, or are they really just a good defense?
Yep. Raiders. No.
You know what's funny about the Raiders is I kind of feel like you know what the Raiders are. I just don't know if it ever really works to win.
Good. Yeah.
You know it, but you kind of know a style, right? You know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get some of that stuff. So, yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think it works.
Quick, going to the NFC then. Eagles. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think I know who the Eagles are. And
but it's spearheaded by a coach that I feel like is not capable.
I actually think it's spearheaded by a city and a physicality of their players.
Okay.
And also a GM that is willing to go all in every week, every month, every trade deadline, every year.
Yeah.
And bigger than the coach. It actually dwarfs the coach in that sense. I think all those other factors are bigger.
So you take the Eagles culture?
Yeah, I would take that. I know that I'm going to whoop your ass on a Sunday afternoon in the trenches. Absolutely.
Okay. Washington Commanders. Too early to tell?
Too early to tell, but I tell you what, he's doing a nice job of flipping it because we know what the Commanders were.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good.
Giants, obviously not. Dallas Cowboys.
No, because honestly here, the Cowboys, I don't know over the last few years if they're a good offensive team or a good defensive team. It shifts.
Yeah, but I still think they carry the prestige, though, of it's America's team. Not saying that's right, but I think, I don't know, they get a lot of attention. Everyone talks about them. Maybe that's not even culture, more it's just perception.
I think that is more perception. I think that's who you are. That doesn't mean because the Yankees and everybody does that, you know exactly what their clubhouse is.
Yep.
You know? I think they're still trying to figure out whether they are. See, they're like to me, they're the shiny toy team of the league. They've got all these star potential guys, but it means not a lot.
Yeah. All right. Lions, yes, obviously. You wrote a story about it. An article about it. Story. Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota
have been established a little bit with their coach now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they scream to me, but I would put my quarterback in his system.
Yeah, for sure. Packers.
Yeah, storied. Okay. Everything about it.
Falcons.
They're going to find ways to win, right?
Yeah. Should we just say nobody in the NFC South?
Probably nobody in the NFC South. And while you're on it, by the way, should Kirk Cousins be benched?
Hamby. Your time to shine. Hamby. Colin Hamby. It's your boy.
Nope.
You praised him. No.
Mm-mm.
Not after that last game, not after the season?
Bro, you still have...
Four interceptions?
Still in first place in the division.
Looked like he could have thrown 8 in that game from what I saw.
Yeah, it wasn't good. All of a sudden, the whole Kirko Chains thing is not so funny anymore.
I never bought into any of that. But
they can't go with Penix now,
they
right?
can't.
They're too late in the game.
Place.
But you don't think but you're in competition. You're tied. Well, okay, you're in first place, but you're kind of tied with the Buccaneers right now.
Who do they play this
know.
week? You know? I'll check it out real quick. Because if he has another game like this, then I think you might move to the Vikings. Tough game. Well, you got Kirk against the Vikings. Pretty.
Oh yeah, going back. Is it in Minnesota too?
Yeah,
it's in Minnesota.
Okay.
Sheesh.
I'm surprised that one's not on like a Sunday night or something.
Yeah.
That was a little
17
surprising.
receptions, 13. I'm sorry, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
Yeah, that's a
but
lot.
Leads the league in interceptions right now.
Yeah, too much.
Too much. Okay.
All right, so and then where we go? San Francisco.
Then you get the West.
San Francisco falling apart. Seattle, I feel like they're rebuilding that thing.
But hold on. Okay, so I get San Fran's falling apart, but so you've seen enough from this season to say you don't want that culture?
No, I just don't know if they can sustain it right now. Like, I think their run, I'd like the culture of them for the last 4 years.
Of
Go
course.
get quality players,
Injuries
you're physical,
happen.
explosive. But I also think now is not the time to be, if you can duplicate that. I would also say this. I think San Fran, Philly, and Dallas are a little bit outliers in terms of how much star potential they have on their team.
Yeah.
Like it's very unique to have that many good players. So are you going to build your team with that many good players? I mean, go do it if you can.
Sure.
And Philly and San Fran have found a lot of success. For some reason, Dallas hasn't.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of good players.
Last two, because Arizona's kind of getting established themselves, new coach, everything.
I'll say this, though. I told Christian Kirk's dad this on Monday night, too. I said something about Arizona, and I've said this for a long time around here. The people they have in their organization are really cool people. Mm-hmm. Kirk's one of those guys, like the guy you want on your team, the guy you want in your locker room. Calais Campbell we referred to. I always have heard that Larry Fitzgerald's awesome. I heard this about Patrick Peterson, and I think Carson Palmer, too. Guys, it's an interesting thing in Arizona what they've had. Now, always hasn't related in success. Mm-hmm. Oh, he brought up Kurt Warner, too, another one, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, these are really good human beings they have that come out of Arizona. I think that's an important part of it, but is it enough part of it? That's what we're asking in Jacksonville. We might actually be more like Arizona than we know here.
Yeah.
We have good human beings. We have good people in the locker room. Do we have too many of them?
How's the meeting in Arizona? Do we have too many of them? Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say, right?
NFL, yeah. Walter Payton Man of the Year, everybody's nominated. The entire team, if you will.
I mean, seriously, like that's a weird thing to say, but is there something missing? Kind of like we would say about Dallas. Dallas has a lot of stars, but what's missing? What ingredient is missing there? They definitely have swag, and I wouldn't say
I think
all
it's a
Walter
coach,
Payton men.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe they do. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the answer.
Last two, Rams.
Yeah, I kind of like what they do. And I think it is a McVay and what's his name there, GM, have done a great job. You know they're going to see. I wondered about if when they sold the farm to go get good, would they be able to recycle it back? And they've done a pretty good job of that, even in the absence of a guy like Aaron Donald.
Correct. Now, obviously, having Stafford helps too, I think. But okay, so could you bring McVay over here and have success? Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because first of all, we'd probably get really good stuff out of Trevor Lawrence.
Sure.
So
yeah, but also I think like he had Aaron Donald. You know, like you had like these like Hall of Famers also to help you out. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I think he would.
Okay.
And by the way, he sees talent with a Puka Nacua, and he works those guys in. And look what they're again. That GM is good.
And then last team is the Seattle Seahawks, which is the NFL enigma.
I think they've sustained pretty good over
even through
time.
Carroll.
Yeah. I think they've handed
fan
that
base
off.
helps out too. I think a little bit.
They've handed that off in a nice way, and they've gotten the best out of their play, like a Geno Smith type.
Okay,
right. So I think. Listen, you go up, and I don't think the Seattles of the world, the Rams of the world, the others of the world just scream like, "Wow, this is who we are. This is what." It doesn't matter if you put you in there, me in there, this coach in there, this GM in there. There are very few organizations around the league that scream that.
Yeah.
But I do think the Steelers and the Ravens and maybe now even the Eagles have a sense of that. The Patriots of the last 20 years, but not previous. There are organizations that do that. I'm not saying the Jags need to do that. I think the Jags can be like some of these other teams that you kind of figure it out. What's the last 5 years look like? Who do I know? The Bills, to me, are a great example.
Yep.
The Bills are a team that flipped it. They're the best example for the Clevelands and the Jags and all those teams because they were in the dumps, man. They were bad. They were bad. They were bad teams still being bad. But they flipped it and now have created something. Thought the Jags might be doing that for a year and a half under Doug Peterson. Doesn't look like it anymore. Who's going to be able to do that for a 3, 4, 5 year stretch? And now you flipped it, and now you become something. Remember, before the Patriots were the Patriots, they stunk. They stunk. And what they did for a few years there was build that. All those things that we're talking about, they built it up. And now they had a 20-year run on it, and then it makes up for itself.
Correct.
It just kind of lays its own bed.
And then you lay the foundation, you lay the, yep. Hey, can you address this Duval TV, Jaguars Madden Gaming, who's putting out a 20-page manifesto on our chat about how much he doesn't like you anymore?
I know. He's down on me for my, what did I say?
Hamby, can we bring it back? Or I'll
get it right here. Let's see. He went on a nice little run here.
This dude. I'm trying to bring a new topic to the conversation. All I see in the chat is just nonstop.
He really doesn't like that you said it didn't bother you that Armstead liked the post.
Yeah. Are you joking right now? I had to come back to catch up live with you right now, Brent. You said it doesn't bother you. Armstead liked the post. Are you kidding me, bro? Brent, you also said that you don't think it's going to upset anyone in the locker room. Doug, wrong one, sorry. I'm low-key in shock from all this. Apparently, Armstead is not welcome here. And Brent, if you don't care how you call yourself a Jags fan, well, I don't necessarily call myself a Jags fan. I'm out, man. I'm disgusted. You're a coward. You call me a coward.
Dang.
How about that?
Dang.
Read the next one.
Oh, there's another one? Brent, I lost all respect for you.
I gotta go back
You're
on
the
this.
coolest man. Well, I am. I would come in here and listen to you.
Take it easy with the coolest
man. I appreciate it so much.
Take it easy with the coolest.
Yeah,
hold on.
In here
Sorry, time up in the game. I'm throwing the red flag. Dude's cool, but like, hey man, let's get our expectations a little higher. Okay, please continue. Sorry.
Boy, you really didn't like that, huh?
I guess not, man.
I can appreciate your passion for it.
Sure. That's nice of you, Brent. That's good. That would have been me. I'm just saying, that would have been me. I would have had a little clap back for him, but it's all good.
I'm not going to fight.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Yeah, you don't want to antagonize. We don't need another joker on our hands. We got plenty of jokers running around now.
Hey, it's the noon hour here on the show. Lunch or dinner for a business meeting? How about Bono's? Have you seen them redo that new Gate Parkway location? And you can rent it out for your event if you want to rent the patio out. It's a really cool spot. They have a drive-thru over there as well. Been at bonosbarbecue.com. Visit that, bonosbarbecue.com. Bono's, if it ain't a pit, it ain't legit. Get your holiday catering right there at Bono's.
And maybe Brent should check out the Jack's Pal, the Brent and Austen Show, and the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network is proud partner of Jack's Pal, that police athletic league of Jacksonville. Brent, they're out for boxing, so maybe take that up a little bit to help defend yourself.
Ivan Chukarov.
Help support the programs in Northeast Florida that give kids in our area a chance to play sports, be a part of after-school programs, go to summer camp, and attend events like the Jags games. You can donate and be a part of the many locations around Jacksonville. Visit jackspal.org.
Duval TV, Jaguars Madden Gaming. Maybe he should reach out. jackspal.org. Hey, we're taking a live look right now at our Jaguars found. Oh, sorry, not a live look. This is a look. I could have said live. What the hell? It sounds so much better to say live look.
Would have sounded great.
Jaguars Foundation, Action News Jax, Salvation Army, telethon going on, and that is over at Jags headquarters. They're actually utilizing the press box for the telethon today that goes on until 6:30. More on actionnewsjax.com, Action News Jax on CBS 47, Fox 30, and more right here. Look how you can get involved. 1-800-741-7101. That's 1-800-741-7101. 5th annual Red Kettle Telethon throughout the day today until 6:30. You can see the QR code as well. Hopefully, you can help and make an impact here in the community.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue.
How is that even possible?
The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here on the show, Brent and Austen Show. I haven't been kicked off apparently yet.
Man, bro, you let some people down.
I guess
you let some people down.
Hell of a year. Really, like outside my box.
I'm
like,
I'm glad to be
back. If this was wrestling, if it was Scrap House, it'd be feels almost heel turny.
It does a little bit.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It's not calculated, I will say.
It's been a fun transition. Well, it's been fun, but not so fun because, like, you know, it's not about the destination, about the journey and what it took for you to get to this point. Yeah. It hasn't been that fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it's
I don't like the character.
Yeah, yeah.
Going back.
Yeah.
Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Jason Hamby here on a Thursday. Again, coming up at 1 o'clock, we have the Jags locker room. A lot of good stuff from the locker room. So if you haven't checked out the show, it's basically just everything right there for you in a half hour. 1:30 Jags Report Live. We had Christian Kirk on. If you missed it this week, we replay it. 2 o'clock Fleet and Footy coming up today, and more tonight, including Jaguars All Access, which you can see Trayvon Walker on the show at String Sports Brewery in Springfield. Now, we have to separate these. Thursdays are, which is Jaguars All Access, that stays in Springfield. Our Monday show originally was supposed to begin at Jags Report Live in the Jax Beach location. Well, it just opened this past week, so we are now there for the remainder of the season. Mondays, Jags Report Live in Jax Beach. Thursdays, Jaguars All Access in Springfield.
Brent, I have just achieved a milestone.
Oh, yeah?
Breaking news. Gmail just alerted me, see it for yourself, that I will stop, December 25th, I will stop receiving emails as I have officially ran out of storage space on Gmail. This has been a long time coming, everybody. I think I got this email back. It would have been in 2010.
Really?
And we have finally eclipsed, the point of no return.
Filled to capacity.
We have shattered the glass ceiling, and this is where we're at now.
So what does that mean? Do you have to buy more space? Is that what they're really trying to do?
I think they're just trying to make me, well, that's what they're advertising. Hey, just get a new email, right?
I do that.
Or else they're telling me to delete some stuff.
Well, delete some stuff because tell everybody how many you have.
So now we are at 129,351 emails in the inbox.
That's unread.
I don't know.
Or is that just...
That's in the inbox. I'm sure I probably glanced at some of them.
Okay.
Browsed at some of them.
Glanced at some of them.
I don't know. I may have seen a couple.
So you just don't delete them?
Nah.
You got so much spam on there probably too.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So 89,796 says promotion. So I assume that's like spam, right?
I would assume.
Yeah. Yep.
So why don't you just delete everything? You don't pay attention to it. So just
I don't.
Clean it out.
Yeah, but I'm worried that there might be some really big one in there that I should probably have saw or something.
Well,
maybe some prince in Africa needs some money that I missed out on. And as a person, I have to feel obligated to give him money. Do what?
You're not going to find it anyway.
I mean, probably not. Well, no, you can do key searches. Every once in a while, I'll key search Brent, and then Brent emailed us about the show today. Okay. Or
that sounds about right, by the way.
Hey man, at least I still see it.
It's true. At least you made the effort.
I got it.
129,000 emails. I'm the guy that I save a lot of stuff in folders. Out of sight, out of mind.
My man.
I save a lot of stuff in folders. I'm like, I think I'm going to need this at some point, so I don't want to delete it just yet. And then I never needed any of them.
Hoarding.
And
right?
then I'll feel like I saved something that I needed, and I'm like, why can't I find this?
No, listen, it's not like I'm a hoarder where I need I'm
a little bit.
I better hang on to this Etsy white elephant gift that wows. I don't need it. I just I just don't want to go single-handedly go through each one. There's got to be a master delete thing where I can just delete all.
Yeah, I think you could. I mean, you could hit Shift on one and go all the way down to Shift.
On your cell phone though, or is it on the? It's got to be on the computer.
I would do it on the computer a lot easier, and then just drag it into that deleted folder.
Okay.
Boy, I feel like I'm really educating right here.
All right, forget animal videos.
Can I have your computer for a moment?
No, man. Hey, nah, man. Hey, come on now. Hey,
this is starting to bother me.
No, I got it.
I bet Stuart Weber's listening in the sports office, and it's really bothering him.
Oh, is he the same way?
Oh my God,
you guys got to delete everything.
His OCD is probably
See, I have OCD. It's just not about stuff I don't know. I'm weird.
I don't think you have OCD. You must have something else. We got
dude,
clinically.
I keep a clean sink and a clean kitchen now.
Do you?
Oh yeah. I can't have dishes overnight. Oh, I'll stay awake till 2:00 in the morning.
Gosh, it's so fun. I would not imagine that.
Yeah, I don't know.
My buddy's like that. My best friend. He is a clean freak with his house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, but he is. And so he had people over at Thanksgiving, and it's like a thing. He's got 20 people over, and he's just you can't stand it. You just can't stand it. You can't stand seeing the place a mess.
Yeah.
And if you knew my buddy Pat, you wouldn't paint the picture.
Yeah.
You would never say, like, I wouldn't say, like, you're the dishes in the sink guy. That like, I'm stereotyping, all right?
Yeah, stereotype. That's fine. I get it.
It's just so funny how everybody's got these different things.
Well, dude, and like, but I grew up in a household, like, and God bless my mom, but like, if we ever had like company over, like, we had to go through, like, you would have thought like a murder took place in our house where we had to like deep clean everything. And like, you know me, like, at the time, I'm like, why? Like, they don't care, like, what our windows look like. But, like, you know, my mom would stress, like, can you just please help me? We have company. I'm just like, I'm playing my video game, like, just being not a good son. But, yeah. So maybe some of that kind of rubbed off on me a little bit.
There's a trick to that. It's called don't invite people over.
Scorpio thing. Shoot the front door.
Shoes off at the front door.
I mean, I always do that, yeah.
You know, what's interesting is I think about it because I was at our house. It was that way.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom usually made us take them, like she would take off.
Especially being up north, Brent, where there's snow and mud and everything.
And so, yeah, I guess like you're right, YB 400. I guess now that I think about it, I don't really think about it, but I do it. Like even at our house, I always take my shoes off.
Same.
Usually coming through the garage, but I take them off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really wear shoes in the house much at all.
Yeah, same.
But I would think, is that normal? So that's not normal? I would think that's more normal. The most people take their shoes off?
Well, it's normal up north. But I don't know how. I mean, I don't know about Florida. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that if I'm wearing flip flops, maybe I won't take them off, and so that has a little bit of down here. I guess we got more clean freaks out there. Hamby, what are you? Are you a clean freak or what?
No.
No?
I mean, I did plenty of chores growing up, but yeah, I don't. My room can be a mess, and I'll sleep just fine.
How's your email?
Not good. I think I got like 20,000.
Welcome, Hamby.
You know, the cool thing is,
I have rookie numbers, though, Ham. You got to get those numbers up.
I have 800,
get those numbers up.
800 texts right now.
Oh, he might have me beat. Dang, Hamby, 800, like, in the red? See, I only have 500. Oh, actually, I have 499. I have 499.
I can't have red on my phone.
Oh, Brent. Dude, you just join us, man.
But I just clicked into it.
Oh, no, I do have actually a couple of phone calls I just missed, I guess.
I have 168 missed phone calls.
My gosh, I can't do that. That I can't do.
That's why the show works. So Brent, we're different people.
I can't do it. I mean, I do have some. Like, there's some that I get to deeper in my into my apps, but the one that is first one on my screen that has the phone calls, the texts, the emails. No.
By the way,
no, never.
Speaking of taking your shoes off and everything, so I was gonna do the Duval Daily about the meeting at Shad Khan's yacht, like the Christmas party, but then I'm like, I don't want to, like, you know, I feel like we're we're fine. But like, shout out to Ben Becker for doing the deep dive. He got a source said, like, the text message part of it said like 5 to 7 socks but no shoes.
Yeah, that's a thing on the boat. No, that's the thing.
Why? If I'm going to go on a yacht where I assume there's going to be cleaners and maids and everything, I'm not going to take off my shoes and have a sock party like a 5-year-old. The shoes are staying on.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I know that's a thing, like always a thing.
On yachts?
Well, I'm no on Shad's yacht.
Oh, Shad's yacht. Gotcha.
Yeah, I know it's a thing. Like, even before I got on it, the one time, like, I had heard.
Oh, so you had to take your shoes off?
Oh, yeah. Everybody takes shoes off. Because, well, one of the reasons I think this is, because you're thinking of a boat, right? And you're thinking of, like, what is that called? Like the fiberglass kind of stuff that's on a boat. Like when you get in it.
Yeah.
And you're, like, easily washed off and stuff.
Yeah,
This is not a boat, okay? This is a luxury house.
Okay.
That so means it's got carpet. It's carpet and hardwoods and things like that.
I got you, but, like, see, I'm picturing... And once again, like, I know at this Christmas party, apparently no business meetings went down, because that would violate the sunshine laws.
I didn't follow all that, but I got that.
Apparently. Yeah. But, like, I always picture...
By the way, this is why I'm never getting into politics. I would break every rule.
Oh, I know.
And I don't even know it.
Trying to talk some shop on the yacht? Let's go. No? Sunshine laws?
The yacht.
You can't do that. But, like, I always picture, like, okay, dude, you got a yacht, it's like, I don't want to say it's like the mafia, but it's like, it's like a... No, it's not the mafia, but I'm saying it's like, the high-powered people are getting together, talking, hanging out and everything. I don't picture them not wearing shoes. Like, you didn't watch The Godfather, and when they're meeting and they're talking shop, they weren't rocking socks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, it bothers me, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's more from a cleaning thing.
This is why I've never invited him. Yeah, this is why I've never been invited there.
But it's his house.
Hey, be honest.
He can make the rules.
Be honest. Were we at that party a couple days ago, Brent? On that yacht?
No, I wasn't.
You sure?
No.
Can you have somebody corroborate the story for you?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure.
I did see multiple people. That was like the heavy hitters were on that.
The heavy hitters, yeah.
The heavy hitters were on that one.
Okay.
So, the one time on that was the old Kismet now.
Oh, that's right.
Kismet.
This is the new one, new and improved.
Yeah. So, gosh, it's amazing. Like, but there were rules like that Ben Becker article. Like, I was like, I didn't even know some of those rules existed.
Oh, with like this.
Yeah.
So basically, for those of you that are listening, the Sunshine Law states that if you're like a councilman, you can't talk business outside of the public eye.
Yeah.
So like city council meetings, things like that, you can't talk business on a yacht.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess it makes some sense.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, let's do this. We're a little behind on commercial breaks, so let's do that. Somebody had 11,000 emails, though, I think, on that chat earlier. That's impressive.
Not bad.
For anybody who isn't OCD. You can't be OCD and have 11,000 emails. But I guess you can be OCD about other things, like certain things. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the case. My car's a mess. My room is a mess. And I'm not bothered by it. But I'm bothered by that little red dot that shows up on my phone all the time. And we are a weird species.
Aren't we?
We'll be back on the Brent and Austen show. Right after this, we'll have the Duval Daily. Looking forward to that. What will that be about? Well, Austen will tell us when we come back here on a Thursday edition on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
All right, so here we had a flip yesterday, Rains High School, and that is Solomon Thomas. He's a 5-star offensive lineman. Good-looking outfit, too, dude.
Dude, he's
looking good. Well, he's Florida State commit for a long time.
Yep.
Look at him. He's like, no Florida State. Everybody knew.
Oh, that NIL must have hit real early for him, man, with that suit. That looks good.
A lot of people thought he was going to flip to Florida, or at least had a chance to.
Yeah.
And he ends up going FSU to LSU instead. So
tackle or guard, Brent?
Tackle.
Tackle.
And big, part of a Reigns team that's undefeated and really good.
Said he was disappointed that he wasn't able to commit to FSU.
Yeah, well, a part of that was the offensive line coach got fired midseason, and that was his guy. And
you can tell he wanted to, if circumstances would have stayed the same, he was there.
Yeah, It's very interesting, right? And it's not necessarily the school. It's not necessarily Mike Norvell in that instance. It was the line coach. And when they let him go, they lost him. And that's why a lot of people thought that he might flip to Florida, because Florida, behind closed doors, the people were saying that they were going to hire the O-line coach, and so they would take a guy like him with them. That part didn't manifest, obviously. But a bunch of big-name guys, when we should mention, it's a really cool day, and it just shows you the talent we have. Jamie French stayed going with Texas. Some thought he would flip from Mandarin. Tramel Jones did flip Florida State to Florida, but we already knew that a couple of weeks ago. Drake Stubbs flipped from Miami to Florida. These are all guys that go to Mandarin High School. There they are. Jalen Lewis is going to Memphis, by the way, so he gets lost in that shuffle, but congrats to Jalen Lewis. Reigns had Solomon Thomas, also Jayon Simon going to Rutgers, Caleb Lampkins to Bucknell, Ed White, we were there. Joshua Patterson is headed to Iowa State. The Patterson family has had a long line of talent heading to college. And earlier we showed you Tayshawn Gelsey went Florida to Florida State on signing day. Miles Kendrick, also from Riverside, he's going to Indiana. He's been committed there. We've got other guys, like obviously we know down at Creekside, Sean Aschenfelder going to Rutgers. There's a bunch of football players in the area headed to that next level in big-time institutions, and it's become such the norm that it doesn't seem like a big deal. And I always check myself, it's like, this is a big deal. Look at all this talent right here on the football field and other sports too, and I don't want to dismiss the other sports. A lot of the other sports will go in the February signing day. This one's more football-related, but it doesn't mean they don't get recognized as well on the early signing period. But the reason why football goes is, one, it's designated because football's football these days, but also because a lot of the kids now go early.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll end up on campus in January, graduate early, which has become such a big thing to do. I think I might have seen that Florida, of their signing class, I think they've got 18 of the kids are ending up on campus in January. It's wild.
Jeez, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, that's okay. I'm not this big, like, why is that happening? Blah, 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 blah. I'm also not a big fan of why does everything have to be so sped up? Right? We live in a world that just flies at 100 miles an hour. And why do you have to go early? Like, I always say this, like college, depending on where you're at and how much it costs, I see why people try to get out early. But I'm like, college, man, we all want to stay in for another couple of years.
Who you telling?
Right? Why do you want it to go early?
Yeah.
So
I did it early.
Why do you want to go fast? And now, again, some of that's a financial part of it and the burden, and that makes sense. But there are so many kids now that, like, they got 2 years done by the end of high school.
I know.
Which,
But
again,
then-
from a monetary standpoint is very good.
But it also makes then if you're an athlete, it makes it a lot easier towards the back end of it.
Well, that does
when
too.
it matters. You know, now all of a sudden your schedule's a little more easier.
Yeah, I would just say slow it down, man. What's the rush? But again, that's just the way the system is set up now. And nobody wants to go to FSU. YB400 says, actually, I think you said that yesterday on our show. Maybe you're right. By the end of the day, they jumped a bunch of spots. Hamby, do you remember, like, I didn't look at all the rankings. I think Florida ended up like number 10 or something like that. Florida State, I think, ended up like 22, but they were in the 50s early in the morning or on Tuesday.
Yep, they were in the 50s.
And they jumped big time. Did Georgia end up top 3, top 4, something like that?
Yeah, we actually fell from 1 to 3.
Well, Oregon
cleaned house on it?
Dominated, right, Hamby?
Texas, yeah, they did. Texas is 1.
Okay.
Bama 2, Georgia 3, Oregon 4, Ohio State 5, Auburn still 6.
Auburn 6. That's
They fell a
impressive.
spot or two, but still. Yeah.
That's impressive considering they've really
I'm
done nothing.
seeing- okay, like I was looking at Rivals. Rivals said like that Oregon was number 1. I thought.
Well, they'll all be different,
But I
so
know,
you might
yeah,
be right.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But
Rivals might have number 1.
But I mean, it's hard to you can't quantify how good these recruiting classes are because
no idea.
You have no idea.
I'll tell you what, because Oregon's Oregon, and we don't talk about them around here, right? Except for Ronan.
Except I have to talk about them every single night. Did you see the New Jersey's dropped last night for the Big Ten championship game? It's the best ones yet. Yeah, they're great.
But I think because it's Oregon and it's out there and everything else, we don't talk about the job Dan Lanning's doing enough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Lanning
it's
has been a
impressive.
home run hire and seems like he's really got it working to the tune of the undefeated record, number 1, but also what they're doing on the recruiting trail. And now you look at Fran Brown in Syracuse and what he's done, and you start looking at this Kirby Smart tree, and your guy Kirby is putting out a pretty good tree there, Hamby.
Yeah, he is, and that's why I think schools like UNC and UCF should be looking at Glenn Schumann, the current defensive coordinator. And there hasn't been a whole lot of buzz on him yet, but I mean, he seems like almost a carbon copy of what Dan Lanning is, and I'm just surprised that his name hasn't popped up enough. But it's the same thing with Saban. Obviously, he had Smart, Kiffin, Sark, all these guys. They were from. I mean, they had other stops, obviously, but when you have a guy that's been a coordinator under a national champion, you got to hire him as a head coach to up-and-coming programs.
Yeah, well, he's done a good job, obviously, and it's not automatic that everybody else will do a good job. Just ask Bill Belichick's tree.
Yeah, true.
Right? So, hey, we're going to get you're going to be disappointed in this. Before we do the Duval Daily, Steve Lehman from News Channel 5 up in Nashville is going to join us.
Oh, yeah, best dressed dude.
But you're going to be disappointed in this. Not that Steve Lehman's coming on, but the fact that it's just going to be the audio version. You're not going to see the best dressed guy.
Well, Brent, I mean, first of all, this wasn't in the email. Second of all,
it was a late ad.
That's fine. But
Well,
second
actually,
of all,
I issued the email earlier. And by the way, the fact that you checked the email was impressive
I always
based
check
on
the
your
emails.
computer.
I always check the email
system.
Is there a reason why we can't get him in video? Is he busy, or is it our fault? Is it our fault?
No, it's not our fault. Not yet. I mean,
All
if
right.
it was, it would be Hamby's fault.
I think
we
he's
don't
out.
we don't even consider him like the royal we. He's just his own little separate entity.
Yeah, I told him we didn't need video, but I knew if we didn't get it, you'd be highly disappointed and wonder what suit he was wearing today.
Yes, sir.
Steve Lehman from News Channel 5 up in Nashville. I think you got us. Do you have us? How you doing, man?
I do. What's going on, guys? Great
Hey,
to be
what's
with
that?
you, and I can say that this is definitely my fault. I'll take the L on the no video. I'm in public, so not the easiest spot. It's not the easiest spot to make this happen, but I'm making do, and I'm not even in a suit yet. I'm in full sweats at this point, so Austen would have been disappointed anyway.
Oh, Steve, don't ruin the fantasy for me, man. All right, all I picture you in is 3-piece suits, man. Don't ruin it for me now. Come on, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm way underdressed at the moment.
You're in public, so you're going to take us shopping with you throughout the day? What are we getting?
Yeah, certainly Christmas shopping for new tires at the moment.
I thought he said he was in the grocery store.
Yeah.
He was going to get new tires. Well, hey, man, we got this fun game coming up on Sunday. The crappy Jags against the, I don't know if you're calling them crappy Titans, but they're not great.
Yeah, we can certainly call them that. It has been a real disappointment up here, and it's a lot of, I think, the organization's own doing. They really tried to sell this offseason that we were in for an exciting year with a new coaching staff that was offensive-minded, built around this quarterback that they believed in Will Levis, and then they really sold everything they did in the offseason in terms of their acquisitions and free agency of Calvin Ridley and a great draft class led by J.C. Latham and Tavondre Sweat. And they just felt like they were going to have a team that was going to be competitive, and it's been anything but that through 12 weeks at this point and 9 losses. And we've seen glimpses here of the last month or so of Levis coming back healthy and playing a little bit better football. But ultimately, the good football has been few and far between for this team. And last week in Washington was an abject disaster when they got down 28-0 in the first 19 minutes of the game. I mean, guys, I can't tell you, and I've covered this team for 14 seasons, I can't tell you of a worse 19-minute stretch than that. It was turnovers, and it was bad defense, it was bad tackling, it was bad offense, unable to convert on third downs. It was all 3 phases just being bad at one time and getting down an insurmountable amount against a Washington team that's good, but let's face it, not great.
Well, Steve, you obviously didn't watch the Detroit Lions take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's all good. You know what they say, misery loves company. One of the shining spots, so one of the positive things to talk about this year for the Jaguars has been the emergence now of Brian Thomas Jr., who essentially replaced Calvin Ridley. How are the Titans liking Calvin Ridley as he kind of lived up to expectations, lived up to the paycheck so far, or is there still room to grow for him?
Well, first off, Austin, I had to live through my own Detroit experience about a month ago, and it was equally unpleasant. So I can totally relate to what that looked like. But I would say on the Ridley front, it has been a disappointment to this point. And the jury is still out. Obviously, the contract runs beyond the first 12 weeks of this season. And so he's still got a time to grow into this offense and be the guy that they ultimately paid $92 million to. But he was basically persona non grata for the first month of the season as they built into this offense. Then the trade of DeAndre Hopkins happened, and all of a sudden he started to look more like a number 1 receiver. But now he's getting a ton of attention from teams. The offensive line doesn't hold up particularly well to allow deep routes down the field. And I'll tell you, the guy who's been the most impressive part of their receiver core right now is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who is a guy who's probably 5th on the depth chart way back in the training camp when you thought you had this group of DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. That's a big problem for the Titans offense right now because they just haven't gotten the production that they expected out of the top 3. Obviously, Hopkins is no longer here. Ridley has not been as advertised, and neither has Boyd. And so trying to develop a consistent passing game that can be dynamic has really been an issue. They're looking for more out of Calvin Ridley. It's not that he's necessarily done anything wrong or that he's struggling with drops, but it just has not been the volume that anybody would have expected for a guy that you're going to ultimately pay $92 million to over 4 years.
Steve, it's funny because you bring up Ikhine and might be the biggest fantasy darling now the past 3 or 4 weeks. Like, do you have a vibe on exactly who he is? Because all I feel about him is he just catches touchdowns. Like, he's not going to get you 6-7 receptions, but when you're close to the red zone or if you need a big play, he's the guy that you go to.
Yeah, Mr. Reliable has become Mr. Touchdown on this offense. He's got 8 touchdowns in the last 8 games. It's really remarkable how he's become this go-to guy, especially around the end zone. But he is Mr. Reliable. That is who he's been throughout his entire career. And guys, he's a guy who wasn't highly recruited. He tore his ACL in college. People weren't sure he was ever going to have an opportunity in the NFL. He was undrafted. He makes the Titans as a UDFA. He really won over Mike Vrabel and the previous coaching staff, not so much for his route running or his ability to catch the football, but it's just because he did everything right. He was always in the spots you expected him to be. He was a willing blocker when Derrick Henry was the focal point of the offense. He was willing to play on special teams and contribute there, and they just kept putting him into the game, and he earned more reps. And guys, he's been on a one-year contract every year of his career, and he just keeps earning the next contract and keeps earning the next contract and coming back here. There were some questions about that in the offseason with the new coaching staff, but they brought him back. He was buried on the depth chart at wide receiver, and he's just continually worked his way up to get more and more and more reps into this place that he's at now. I mean, consider this. He didn't have a single target in the first month of the season in this offense. Now he has 8 touchdowns in 8 games. So perhaps they didn't quite understand what they had back in training camp, but they figured it out now, and he's producing.
You almost wonder sometimes. I do this all the time with quarterbacks when they come in. It's like, what do these people see on the practice field that doesn't show that, right? Like, why can't you see it there? And then they figure it's always a weird thing, and sometimes it's just coincidence, I guess. Steve Lehman from News Channel 5 in Nashville hanging with us for a couple minutes. Let you go in a moment or two. Hey, the Mike Mularkey stuff that we shared with you a couple weeks ago, how did people take that up in Tennessee?
I think with a lot of laughter. That was certainly my response, Brent. I mean, look, I think Mike Mularkey's a really good dude, first and foremost. And so it's just cool to kind of have the curtain peeled back and get to see inside there and get it from his perspective, because we've never had a chance up here, at least, to talk to him since it all went down. It's all been other reports out there. And so to actually see him on video, he was better at that than me, apparently. But to get on there and to deliver that news was really, really interesting, and it definitely made waves up here. And I think it also confirms something that a lot of people up here have long known, that he got a pretty raw deal up here. And it's not to say that he wasn't going to ultimately be the guy that could get them to the next level. Certainly the Mike Vrabel hire elevated the Titans to the next place. Multiple playoff appearances, division titles, a trip to the AFC Championship game. Mike Vrabel was a good hire from where they were.
Yeah.
But the Titans were the worst team in the league in consecutive seasons. And they brought in Mularkey as the interim coach and then the full-time coach, and he immediately took them to back-to-back 9-win seasons. And in year 2, a trip to the playoffs and a win on Wild Card Weekend, and then was unceremoniously fired. Now, again, it doesn't mean that Mike Vrabel wasn't the better choice to lead them to the next level for a period of time, but that's pretty rough to do to a guy. I think Mike Mularkey did a great job here, given what he was asked to do and given the personnel he had, and he delivered the best possible results he could in that time, and then he was unceremoniously done. So I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him because, again, I think he's a good guy, and he did a good job, and he gave me a good laugh with that anecdote that he gave you guys last week.
Yeah, well, he pumped up our show a little bit, too, so we don't mind that. The next time we have Coach Mularkey on, we'll be thanking him.
In Red Report, I always kind of called us out, too, a little bit, Brent.
Yeah,
but
well, you did.
Yucking it up, you know? Can't be yucking it up.
Hey, Steve Lehman, let's finish with this. You brought the name up, Mike Vrabel. This is a guy that's going to get another gig. This is a guy, if the Jags make a move, which a lot of people want to see happen and think is going to happen, I think could be in the conversation. Austen and I talk all the time here. Is this an offense guy that comes in to help Trevor Lawrence, or is it a culture guy like Vrabel to come in? Would he be a good fit in Jacksonville? And from your view, something the Jaguars could use?
I think Mike Vrabel is a good fit wherever he goes, because I just think he's a ball coach, guys. You know, I think he could go into any situation and identify what needs to happen and work well there. Jacksonville has not been one of the first places that I've thought of, because I keep oscillating. I hear so much from people that I know in Chicago about the Bears and the potential fit there. People in Vegas are talking about Mike Vrabel and the silver and black. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then I hear people in college. I mean, if Ohio State is going to make a move, and I'm not sure that they will, especially given the timing of signing day at the playoff and all that, but if Ohio State decided to move on from Ryan Day, Mike Vrabel, I think, would certainly be at the top of the list of people that you call if you're in Columbus. But wherever he ends up, I think he can make a big-time impact because he is a guy who's done it before. He understands how to build and how to change a culture. And I'll say this, I think he gets a bad rap for the offense. I heard a lot of people, especially here in Tennessee, they're always like, oh, I don't like the offense. It's so run first. It's all physical. It's not 2024 NFL. He was the head coach with Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry is a generational running back. It was how this team was built. I'm not saying that's the way that you should build a team in the NFL around a running back, but it was the way the Titans were built before he arrived and the way they were built through his entire tenure here. What do you want him to do? Go 5 wide with Derrick Henry in the backfield? I mean, like, that's just not a realistic thing. So if you put him in a different situation with different personnel, I think he's fully capable of hiring an offensive mind, because he's not going to be a coordinator, he's a defensive guy, but hiring an offensive mind to play 21st century football in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball. So I think that knock is completely unfair when it comes to Mike Vrabel. The biggest thing I would be worried about, the only hesitancy, is I think Mike Vrabel wants as much control as he possibly can get. He wanted full control here by the end of the time and all that. And so how he works with a new GM, what level of control he has over the roster, I think those are going to be big things in his negotiation. And I think should be big questions of any owner or GM or player personnel guy that's in the room interviewing him. But Mike Vrabel's going to land a job somewhere, and I think he's going to be very successful wherever he ends up.
Yeah, he knows how to win. Steve Lehman in Nashville, Tennessee, News Channel 5. We'll see you up there this weekend, man. And were you battling mixed minus that whole conversation?
I was not, so I'm sorry if you guys were. But
No,
I'm
we're
doing
not.
pretty well.
No, we're not. I was just curious. I could hear a little bit of an echo. I was like, I wonder if he's hearing the echo too. See, nobody even knows what mixed minus is, but you would know, Steve. You would know, and that would be a hell of a battle if that was. You should have said, yeah. I would have had a lot more respect for you. You just did that over the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, no respect because I can't even get the video to work. But I do know mixed minus battles. They're brutal, and that wasn't it. So I appreciate you guys for working with me. And Brent, make sure you pack your parka today because it feels like 20 degrees here right now. So winter has officially come to Middle Tennessee.
All right, we will be there. We'll go. I think we're going to try to visit the family restaurant. We're going up a day early tomorrow, so we're going to go check that out.
It sounds good. Now, we'll see you at Black Rabbit then.
All right. Thanks, man. Good to catch up with you. See you on Sunday.
You bet, guys. Anytime. See you soon.
All right. That's Steve Lehman from News Channel 5 up there in Nashville, Tennessee. Good thoughts on Mike Vrabel, by the way, and their whole situation going on with the Tennessee Titans as he covers them very close. Always has joined us over the years. We had the burping pig again. With this. Why does that happen?
I like the ghost better, man. I like the demon better.
I don't know. I don't understand why where that one comes from. I have to get with Sesnick on that. That's weird. That's happened twice this week. But again, you can make everything out. But it's just kind of this weird noise that goes.
Yeah. Bump him, Hamby. Bump his monologues. Let's get a Duval Daily. I'm not getting bumped today. Not after all the work I put on it today.
Take him full.
Let's go. Put me full, Hamby. Turn it up a little bit for the people at home.
Oh. Hey, not me. Not me. Get me out of here.
Okay. Dude's having a rough day, Brent. Hey, Hamby, we got some buttons ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Somebody call Martina McBride because this one's for the girls, Brent. Jacksonville is getting their first taste of female professional sports. Well, technically, it's their second taste because who could forget the Jacksonville Breeze, a.k.a. the Lingerie Football League, Brent? Remember that one? Great physical team, kind of a lame name. Nothing strikes fear into a team like a soft, relaxing gust of wind. I once had a coin flip for them as part of the Jaguars community service. Yeah, my mom was actually in town, and she goes, I'm like, are we going to dinner? I'm like, no, I have to go do community service. She goes, oh, that's great. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, the lingerie football game to flip a coin. So Mom was really impressed, man, but hey, if you need someone to flip a coin, go ahead and call your boy Austen Lane. In partnership with UNF Sports, Sporting Jacks will be a part of the USL Super League, and once again, the first or second professional women's team in Jacksonville. Shout out to them. Looking forward to it.
Duval Daily.
Sorry, Hammy, I didn't really have a lot of time to hit the buttons because I thought we had to go. My bad. I don't know if we're out of it, yeah. Yeah, hit him, Hamby. Hit them all. Hit them all, man.
Still going to hit him.
Yep. Good stuff,
Duval
Hamby.
Daily.
Duval Daily.
Just keeping up with the sports news here in Jacksonville.
You got to.
It could take the place of noontime news.
Oh, yeah? You think so?
Which also disappeared.
I was going to say, are we still doing that or not? Because that seems like that's been a bit.
We have not done that in a very long time. Hey, coming up today to the locker room at 1 o'clock, 1:30, we've got Jags Report live on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We always like to tell you, this network is more than us. We've got the lineup, of course, with Miller and Moulton in the morning and then Young and Norvell in the afternoon, but a lot of content in between. And some fun stuff, even more to come in 2025 and next week when we have that Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. It's going to be fun. You've got Stadium Pulse in the morning, Hamby, at 9 o'clock.
That's right.
So good luck with that show. A lot going on in the college football world. A lot to discuss. Hamby's like, I needed 3 shows this week.
I did.
Who are you telling, dude?
Well, you guys will have it tomorrow. I'm going to be in Nashville, so I'll miss the show tomorrow. You guys can talk more college ball. And make sure you get the picks right because we're in first place.
Let's go.
That's a good point.
All right.
That is a good point. We're back.
We are back.
Do you want in on the picks? You going to give us your?
I'll give them to you.
Okay.
I'll share them with you.
Cool.
Hey, Hamby, let's leave the fine folks here listening to the Brent and Austen show. Killer Tofu likes the energy. There's a lot of energy in that guy right over there.
Yeah.
Especially for the Duval Daily.
Gotta have it.
Let's tell everybody how they can get involved with our telethon going on, the Red Kettle Telethon with Salvation Army and the Jaguars Foundation and Action News Jax. Goes until 6:30 today, so you can pay attention with CBS 47, Fox 30, Action News Jax, and all the different platforms. But 1-800-741-7101. There's the QR code as well. If you can donate, please do. With the 5th annual Red Kettle Telethon, obviously all those dollars staying local here in the Jacksonville area, and especially this giving time of year, it goes a long way. So hopefully you can help us out. We appreciate you doing that and being a part of it. Again, ends at 6:30 tonight. So hit that QR code and the number 1-800-741-7101. Trayvon Walker at String Sports Brewery tonight in Springfield for Jaguars All Access. I'll see you then. Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come.
Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.